Well, we are back, huh? We're back at the Nine Club, everybody. Today, we have a very special guest. Mr. Seva Krutkov is with us. How are you, dude?
Doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How'd you pronounce that so good?
Krutkov.
Yeah, you know.
Listen, Seva and I, we were doing Battle of the Barracks a long time ago, and I specifically, I like to know how to pronounce people's names, right? I need to.
Do you?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. Sometimes you kind of butcher them.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Sometimes I get a little confused.
Yeah.
Okay?
You try your best.
I try my best. But I had to get it right, and I said, Seva, how do you say the last name? Because I don't know if a lot of people, even at that point, knew. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a very Russian name, right?
Yeah, so it is. So even in Russia, the way it's spelled is confusing because in my last name it has the O and the E together,
Okay.
which in Dutch makes the sound U.
Oh.
But I don't think anywhere outside of the Dutch language it makes that sound. So the O and the E together is U. So Krutkov.
There we go.
Krutkov.
Yeah.
But I learned how to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you did.
Krutkov.
And it stuck with you. Didn't?
Stuck.
Yeah, you didn't mess it up after. The
I
fact.
will never forget how to say
There it is.
Seva Krutkov.
But also,
Because it's not that big of a, it's not
Yeah.
that hard. Once you know how to do, once you know how to
Right.
say, it's not that hard to say.
yeah, but your first name is spelled Sewa. Do people call you Siwa a
All
bunch?
kind of things.
Yeah, like-
Suwa.
But where?
Yeah,
Suwa.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, growing up in Holland was like Seva a lot.
Seva.
But yeah, Seva.
So-
So I guess after being here for so many years,
Sorry. You're tall, bro.
it's good.
There you go.
So yeah, what I realized is that the way people in the U.S. pronounce the V
Yeah.
is how we pronounce the W in Holland.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
So for example, when I would come to the U.S., I would talk to like, oh, have you seen this skate video? That skate video, and people are like, video, it's not an F, it's a V. I was like, yeah, video.
Video. Yeah. Video.
So
So the-
I guess like, yeah, having that Russian name, but growing up in Holland and spelling it like, the way people would pronounce it in Holland.
Right.
That's what makes it, I guess, confusing.
How?
Yeah.
So what's the deal with that? You were born in Russia, but you grew up in Holland.
Yeah, so I was born in Russia
Mhm.
back when it was still the Soviet Union. Crazy time in history, to say the least.
Totally.
I was born in St. Petersburg when it was still Leningrad, so under communism.
Okay.
And then, when I was one, my parents basically decided to flee. And they basically, escaped Russia, so to speak.
How did they do
Wow.
that?
What?
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I feel like the last few years when I talk to my parents, I get like more
More
and more
information?
stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the short story is it was mainly my dad who wanted to leave.
Okay. And how old were you at this point?
One.
One.
Well, 6 months to one. Like I think that was the period that they were planning to leave.
Wow. Okay.
And so from what my parents told me, basically, whatever belongings they had, which wasn't much at the time, it's like a coat, a chair, maybe a couch. Like they just sold anything they had
Oh wow.
to buy boat tickets to go, quote unquote, on vacation to Europe.
Okay.
And at the time it was not likely to be able to afford those, so that's why they had to sell whatever they had. And also during the Soviet times, for example, my mom, she said she was lucky that she could leave me as a baby with my grandparents while she did the shopping.
Okay.
Because at the time, for example, you would go, wait for a loaf of bread and you wait in line for like 3-4 hours just for a loaf of bread. And then
Whoa.
that's how you shopped. It's not like now we just walk in the grocery store, get all
Right.
your items. And that was in the big cities, by the way. In the small cities, I didn't live through those times, but from knowing a little bit of the history, it was
Sure.
completely fucked, to say the least.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Damn.
gnarly, dude.
So yeah, that's basically what my parents did. They, sold whatever belongings they had, stocked up on some food, and bought those boat tickets and took the boat to Germany. And there we got picked up by some friends of my parents, I think, who already lived in Holland.
Okay.
And then we
They.
ended up at like a refugee house in Holland. And while we're there, you basically just wait till you hear get any messaging whether you get approved to stay there or what's going to happen next.
Mm.
But I mean, I was like 1 at the time, so it's
Yeah, right. You don't remember all
Yeah,
this.
of
So, but I guess my question is: so I'm not that history. I don't know that much about the Soviet Union and
Yeah.
the communism over there. But you were allowed to leave on certain stipulations, like business or
Said vacation,
or
right?
vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from what my mom told me is that it was a lot of people on that boat who, either were fleeing to or
Okay.
who were like higher up there, like I don't know, government officials or whatnot. Because
Interesting.
technically, no one like could afford to buy those tickets to just go on vacation, especially for like 4 days. You know, it's like I
Right.
said, like they had to sell whatever belongings they had to
Right.
get those tickets.
So it was basically upper class could go
Exactly.
on that, right?
Exactly.
And upper class wouldn't really leave because they're living upper class. Is that
Some people would
basically?
still try to leave.
To travel too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some people would still try to leave because they might have felt that
huh.
they might have a better future somewhere
Better
else,
somewhere,
or
right,
or the
right.
kids might have a better future.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
How-
that's basically how my dad felt. Sorry,
Wow.
Oh, I wonder how much were the tickets?
I actually don't know.
Like, it sounds like it could. Is it like a lot of money, or is it just?
I think it's all relative, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
if,
for sure.
If you hear it in today's time, you probably think like, oh, that's pretty cheap. But
Right.
Yeah.
given the fact that you had to sell all your belongings, and
Yeah,
if
years
you
ago.
and if they didn't let you in the country, you were basically screwed. You had to come back,
You had to come back,
and
right.
just
Yeah.
good luck
Yeah.
explaining why you left work and everything and
Oh, wow.
stuff
Right.
like
So
that.
it was, even though it sounds quite, if you got on a boat, then got,
Yeah.
went to and it sounds easy, but still there was like, it was dangerous almost.
Yeah.
And it was like very,
But that was the clean version, basically.
okay. Okay.
Wow, that's.
So, man, so that was, when did the Soviet Union end? See, I'm
I don't
so
want to say
bad
this
with,
wrong. Yeah. I think it was like somewhere in 91. I think that's when
Sounds
it
about right.
collapsed.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I'm not a history guy. I don't
Yeah, I'm
know.
not history
I don't
buffy,
know
but-
too
Gotta
much about
go to
it.
social studies class.
History class.
Well, yeah, social studies, history. Yeah.
Social studies.
Social study.
Soviet Union, 1991.
You were right.
1991. So wow, so that's amazing. So then you grew up in Holland.
Yeah.
Wow, which is a beautiful place to grow up.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
Seriously.
And I feel like, you know how it is when you start traveling, you also start appreciating the place that you come from a lot
Of
more.
course.
So that's how I truly feel with Holland. So like
Mhm.
when we got to Holland, we ended up in like a refugee house with, people from Russia, but also a lot of other countries who fled the country and are just waiting to hear news on whether they can stay or not.
Yeah.
And I think we spent about like a year or a year and a half there, and then we got permission to stay.
Wow.
And that's when we started living in a town called Alkmaar, which is like a relatively small town, 30
you-
minutes up north from
Are you
Amsterdam.
getting 30 minutes from Amsterdam? That's pretty good. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
So, but are you getting residency? Like, are you becoming a citizen? You became a citizen at that point, or it was
my
something?
parents did, yeah. Well,
Okay.
so did I.
Right.
Actually, yeah.
Got you.
So at that point, we did.
Got you.
Did you ever go back to Russia by any chance?
Yeah, when I was like 6, and then
Mm.
another time, like I think when I was 7, and the last time was 20 years ago.
Okay.
Do you have a Russian passport?
No, I don't.
No?
Because that's also where it gets a bit tricky, because
Yeah.
it gets very technical, because I was technically born in the Soviet Union.
Mm.
The
Oh.
Soviet Union fell apart.
Yeah.
So it's not really sure what the deal is there. But my
That's crazy.
my nationality, my citizenship is Dutch.
It's Dutch, right?
Okay. I was gonna say because like if you the Olympic stuff, I was like, could you even try to be a part of the Russian team?
Probably if I want to, I'm sure they could.
Yeah.
make
Yeah,
it
now
happen.
they're like,
Yeah.
Right.
Seva, bring him up. Yeah, let's go. Dutch, we got you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, they got really good skaters and really good contest skaters. So
For sure.
I feel like they're I don't feel like they necessarily need me as
Well, game of
Listen,
skate. They had a game of skate.
Game of
they would need you
skate.
for that. Yeah.
Listen, you're the most finals game of skate dude.
Dude,
You
yeah.
know, most finals.
Amazing.
But before we get into that stuff too, it's interesting because growing up in Holland though, but you still Russian. You still spoke Russian.
Yeah, I
and
did
stuff
actually.
Like that.
So at home we always spoke Russian.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually got to a period in my life where I stopped speaking Russian to my parents. So they would speak Russian. I would reply in Dutch because I guess as a kid I got a bit embarrassed speaking Russian because
you wanted to learn, right? You were going to school with all these people.
Well, I think whenever I would speak Russian to my parents, other kids would laugh, and I started getting embarrassed. And I mean, that's just a kid's thing. I feel like it's
sure.
you know, I remember being a kid hearing another, foreign family talking their language and laughing with my buddies, and
Sure,
it wasn't
sure.
meant to be to discriminate.
Malicious,
anyone.
yeah.
Malicious. Yeah,
For
it was
sure.
just. I think that's what
You're
kids
kids.
do. Exactly.
100%. 100%.
But yeah, so from like probably the age of like 5 till like 17, 18, I basically just talked to my parents back in
Okay.
Dutch.
Right. And they could understand Dutch as
Yeah.
well. Okay. Got you.
And then,
What about English? When did that come to play?
I think English, we started learning English in school when I was like 10, but then also just at some point from traveling, once I started skating and once I started traveling for skating, it's like, when you go to other countries for contest, everyone that comes from a different European country speaks a different language. So your middle ground is always English.
Yeah.
But then later down the line, you also kind of find out that like American English also is a whole different thing compared to kind of the basic English you speak to each other when you're traveling within Europe.
For sure.
But yeah, so I feel like that's how
Oh,
English
okay.
came into play.
Nice. So you're 3 languages.
Basically, yeah.
Spanish?
No, I never.
No habla español?
I was, and also another thing actually about Dutch people speaking English, I think we do have a, I don't even know how I say it, but like the movies that we watch are mostly American movies,
Yeah.
so they speak English, but we have Dutch subtitles.
I hear that a lot.
But when you go to Germany or France or like Spain, it gets, how's it called, like dubbed? Like
Dubbed.
yeah, like they translate everything. So I feel
Right.
like as you're growing up in Holland, watching these movies, listening to music, and basically reading the movies in your own language, you kind of start picking up on words here and there.
Start- right.
It seems like it might be easier for you to
Exactly.
pick it up.
Well, that's how I hear a lot of people learning not only music, but movies,
Yeah.
TV shows,
Cartoons.
cartoons, all that
I remember
stuff.
Chico saying, "Yeah, I used to watch cartoons, and yeah,
I learned it by Mickey Mouse.
that's amazing,
Yeah.
so rad."
That's cool, man. I want to totally get into, you growing up in Holland and starting to skate and all that stuff. But I really want to talk to you first about, because like it's so recent, all this Dwindle stuff and Blind kind of collapsing with all the other Dwindle companies too. But you ended up, because you skated for Blind for what, 7 years, 8 years maybe?
If you count like starting on European flow to get on the Euro team to become AM and all that, like in the US, it's
Yeah.
like nearly 10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
That's a long time though, for
It
sure.
is,
I mean, you
definitely.
spent a lot of your skate career with them.
I did, yeah.
For sure.
And I do have to say it was also a good time though.
It was a good time.
Yeah,
sure.
it was.
So, I mean, you ended up leaving Blind though, like what, 5 years ago
Like,
maybe now?
Yeah, 2018.
Like you just left like on your own.
Yeah,
with
what
nothing
was
there.
why? What was going on there, dude? I mean, maybe you
Yeah.
could speak more freely about it now that the
Oh, for
Blind's
sure.
kind of like done, but
Yeah, there was a few things. And to be honest, nothing bad. I always feel like when I talk about this, I always feel like, well, there's worse things in life,
sure.
So yeah, I got on Blind Flow back in like, what is it, like, yeah, late 2008, like Blind Europe Flow.
Europe flow.
Yeah.
Through a
Is it-
distributor.
Exactly, because that's a whole nother thing that, to get on a team, being from outside of the US.
And let's just back it up really quickly though. When you got on the distributor flow, and then was it hard to get, or was it pretty quick to get into the Blind like atmosphere, like and talk to the blind people out here in the US? Because sometimes it's hard. That's a hard hurdle.
I felt like Dwindle has always been pretty good about that, but at the time it was just, I was in Holland, so I talked
Strictly
to the
distributor.
European TM,
Okay.
the distributor.
Okay, gotcha.
So so I got on Blind. I was on like a European board sponsor before that called Cream Skateboards. I think it was like an Austrian brand, and they stopped doing distribution in Holland. And then I was also on DC in Holland back then. This also like through a distributor,
Distributor flow,
like
okay.
everything I was on was through distributors.
Are you getting paid at this point too?
Oh no,
just
far from it.
just
just to put it in perspective, like if I was in a magazine, no matter what magazine, and you saw like a big DC logo, my bonus was an extra pair of shoes.
okay. So you're strictly product based.
Exactly, and I was on LRG through a distributor back then through Europe as well.
So you're getting hooked up at the time. How old were you at this point?
At this point, I was like 18, 19. Yeah, that was definitely
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we're making a pretty big jump here, but yeah, if we kind of like fast forward between the refugee house to 18.
Oh,
That
for sure.
was like-
And we'll go back. We'll go back because I think I'm just so interested in,
Yeah.
in this blind thing
So-
since it's like recent
so
news
yeah,
and
so
everything.
2008, got on Blind Euroflow.
Mhm.
Started getting boards from them. Was really excited because it was a big step for me going from a European board brand to like, hey, I'm getting boards from an American brand now. Even though it's through a distributor,
Sure.
it still felt like a huge step up. And then, I think at some point, so at some point, I actually met a filmer from the US called, his name is Colin Clark.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
You know
guys familiar
Colin?
with him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
So he started coming to Holland, and I remember at some point he was telling me that in the beginning of 2009 he was going to come to Europe, stay in Holland for like, I don't know, for a while and film like a European video. And at the time, I was already on LRG Europe, like flow, so to speak.
Gotcha.
I remember being able to arrange a budget to go to Paris for like a short week, and going from Amsterdam to Paris, you get there pretty quick by train. We took the bus because it's just a lot cheaper, so it's like a 8 to 10 hour bus drive, not too bad.
Not crazy.
Exactly, and tickets were like I don't know, like $40 round trip per person. So
Smelly.
that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, him and I went to Paris for a short week.
Here's your week in Paris.
Yeah. By the way, side note, I'm very embarrassed of that tray flip, but I feel like I'll.
What? Hold on.
I'll get into that another time. I
Where do
feel
we
like-
go? You're embarrassed of this tray flip?
yeah.
Seva, bro.
No.
Let's look at
It's
this. Let's
it's
look
funny
at this.
because you can see why.
Oh, the
back
the
leg?
the foot dangle.
Yeah. So it's one thing that it's a foot angle, but what you don't really see, right before I wanted to pop, I got stuck at like a little rock, and it kind of threw me off. So it's like it became more scoop than pop.
We're going to slow-mo it. Sorry.
It
see
became
this.
more scoop than pop.
Okay.
So because of that, the tray flip stayed really low, and the back foot kind of like dangled further out than it should have
Right,
been.
okay.
Because if you see the lines where I didn't make the last trick, you see that the trays were more pop.
Okay. but we
You
can't see that,
analyze
right?
Exactly. So that was just a side note.
I always
Okay.
love that about you're so analytical about everything that you do
Oh,
on a
yeah.
skateboard and outside of it too. You were talking about grip tape earlier. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Yeah.
this guy.
So yeah, exactly. This video.
Yeah.
Colin Clark. There was something with his fisheye going on. He couldn't get a fisheye in time. He borrowed someone's cam. He only had long lens, and I
Okay.
felt like back then it was almost like this principle, like no, skate videos need to have fisheye. But looking back, I'm actually very happy that he only had long lens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just also, I mean, if you just look at the spots, how they look, I feel like
100%.
So him and I, we went on this Paris trip for 5 days. It was still winter time, so days are kind of short. It's pretty cold.
Mm-hmm.
But this trip, I was basically just skating. It wasn't like, oh, let's film this or film that. Like I would just go to spots, we would film, and he was doing his Euro video, and everyone was like, okay, let's save this footage. But he was very, very adamant about, no, we have to release this footage like in a week. He said at the time he wanted the world to see what I have in store. And this like before Instagram, before all the social
Mhm.
media. I think Facebook was like pretty new to us at the time.
Okay.
YouTube was there, but back then, I think it was like pros or AMs didn't really have their own YouTube channel. That was like a weird thing. If
Frowned upon.
Definitely.
kind of,
Exactly.
almost,
For
yeah.
sure.
But yeah, he released that video,
Mm.
and that one basically went viral.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
But yeah, at that time is when I think Blind Europe and some of my other sponsors started showing a bit more interest or started to pay a bit more attention.
So it did a lot for you for that release.
I really feel like that trip,
Mm-hmm.
and especially filming with Colin Clark, because I was already sitting on 2 parts before that with Dutch
Oh,
filmers.
wow.
Yeah, I already had 2 parts ready that
Amazing.
Damn,
I was
dude.
like, I just couldn't wait till it would come out. But
Wait, so you filmed all that in that weekend or that
well,
week?
it was like 5 full days. Yeah,
All those clips right there?
yeah.
That was insane, dude.
and that's the interesting thing is that, and I try to kind of bring that back nowadays too, where it's like sometimes like, hey, let's just skate.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing too about skating, right? When you live in LA, you go out with all these plans, like, oh, I want to do district there, and then sometimes it works against you, and then you go to a different place or you skate a spot that you normally wouldn't skate, and all of a sudden you come home with all these clips, and you're like, oh damn, like maybe I should just skate more often.
Yeah, the
you know?
spontaneous aspect of skating.
Exactly.
That's what
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
To thrive and not think about, all right, I'm going to go think about this. And that doesn't work for me. So I
Yeah.
like the aspect of like just going out and free flowing.
Well, because LA is a different beast sometimes.
I was gonna
Sure.
say that
You
too.
have to kind of plan sometimes, right?
Because in Paris we could just take the metro anywhere.
it.
You hop
Yeah.
out, you skate, you already warmed up.
God,
you're
I
at the
love
spot.
Europe. I love Europe.
Yeah.
Here you have to drive a
It's
lot.
true. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to jump in
Yep.
the car no matter what.
So, but yeah. Anyway,
So that video did it.
yeah. So that video came out. It went viral, and then I have to give a huge shout out to my man Thomas Winter. He's from Czech Republic.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you guys ever use MSN Messenger back then, or AOL? I
AIM?
think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're just
yeah.
chatting with
For
people.
sure. The skater guy over
Yeah.
here,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Was
the
it-
man skater.
the man.
That was
skater.
your name?
Yeah,
That was his
my
name.
name,
Oh,
dude.
that's
Oh,
so
yeah?
good.
Yeah, it was cool. But like MSN was more of like a Canadian and Europe thing.
I
And,
guess.
and then AOL obviously was just more of America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
just
the man-
wasted so much.
You never
time.
came across the man skater on.
Never. First
Wow.
time.
the man SK8R.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's the
okay.
same thing, right? You're just like
Yeah, you just
Miss
message.
Messenger,
adding
yeah.
people and just talking and
Yeah.
wasting a lot of time probably. So for sure. Definitely did that.
Yeah.
But I remember talking to that was one way though to connect back then,
Yeah.
especially with people from other European countries.
100%.
And I talked to Thomas Winter. I sent him that video like, hey, I just went to Paris. Because him and I used to be on Cram skateboards on the previous sports spawns I had. And yeah, he was just like starting to talk me into going to the US that year. This was like when this video came out, it was like February 2009.
Okay.
And he told me like, yeah, you should go to the US this year. And I was in school back then. And I was like, yeah, once I finish school, I'll go, and I'll go for like a month or something, like, you know, in a few years. And he was like,
Mhm.
no, you have to go this year. Like, if you can arrange something with school.
Strike while the iron's hot, right?
Basically.
Viral video.
And I was 18 at the time.
Okay.
So, you know, being 18, I'm like, oh, I can do it in a few years. But he made it a big point that I should go that very year.
Smart. Very smart.
And just him talking to me, like, I started just fantasizing, like, oh, maybe I should go to the US this year. And like, he told me like, don't stay less than 3 months, which is your maximum time that you can stay when you're not from when you're from out of country.
Sure.
And yeah, so that became that got on my mind. And I remember at the time because I basically before that I was goofing around a lot, like not really showing up in school, and I basically got kicked off high school, and I had to go to a different school and pick a direction.
Okay.
And I don't know how it is in the US, like basically there's like a few directions to pick. I'm okay with numbers, so I picked bookkeeping. So I was like, well, I'm all right with numbers. Maybe someday I can work myself up to be an accountant. I don't really know what else to do.
Okay.
But during that time, so I transferred to a different school. While I was in the new school, I went to Paris for that short week with Colin Clark, came back, this video part came out, talked to Thomas Winter, and I was like, man, I want to maybe just quit school and you know, start working, start saving up money to go to the US this year and stay there for 3 months. So at the time, I actually set my parents down because I was like, you know, I know this is going to be like almost like a big blow for them because, I mean, regardless of what people say these days, you know, you look on social media, it's like, oh, school's not important. It's like, I still think it's very important to have an education.
Yeah. Okay.
No matter what you're trying to do. Like, of course, it's not the end all to be successful, but I still think it's important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I sat them down and just told them like, hey, I want to quit school and start saving up money to go to the US. Like at the skate shop, I can work, you know, I can work at the skate shop as a sales guy, but also be in the back doing bookkeeping.
Okay. Oh, you wanted to
Because
the accountant skills are coming into play
exactly.
At a skate shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
here. They need their books done too.
exactly. Yeah. Especially if you want to do it right.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, the owner back then basically offered me a job. It's like, oh, do you need any, you know, I could use a bookkeeper. So
He's got his little clear visor hat on, you know, got a little pencil in the ear.
and at the time I was like, you know, that's basically
Paper.
how it
The
went.
paper is coming out.
So yeah, I set my parents down, talked to them about wanting to quit school, and
How did they take that?
they took it a lot lighter than I thought
Okay.
they would.
Maybe
I'm-
you're following your passion.
You felt like you had a plan. You came to him with a plan, it sounds like.
Yes and no,
Oh.
because also, and maybe I'm like overanalyzing this, but I do believe that, you know, telling a bit about the history of where my parents came from,
Mhm.
I think a big part of, and I'm not a parent myself though, but I think a big part of parenting is like, you know, making sure your kids do good, and a part in raising them is them having an education and everything. And, you know, I talked to someone and even though I was the one who quit school and all of that, it's like sometimes I feel like parents feel like they failed even though that's all on me.
Sure.
You know
I
what
can
I
see
mean?
that.
So-
I can see that.
So with that being said, I feel like I thought they would, and also just coming from Russia and everything they had to do and build up a whole new life in Holland,
Mm-hmm.
and to maybe feel like, hey, I'm kind of goofing around and blowing it, even though they understood my passion for skating, they knew how much I love it, and that I actually did take it serious.
And you're already getting free stuff, right?
Exactly.
You're already
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they can see something there.
yeah,
Right.
and yeah, just from skating certain contests
Mhm.
and whatnot, and
Perfect.
just traveling a little bit already. So they took it a lot lighter than I thought, but they basically were like, okay, we would like to see you, you know, continue going to school, have a side job, and skate. Like if, like I
damn.
would love to see you combine that, because if for whatever reason your whole U.S. thing doesn't work out,
Mm-hmm.
we have faith that you're gonna be all right.
Okay.
But I quit school, started working, and just
Okay.
kept skating
Yeah.
basically.
How long did it take you to save money to come to the U.S.? Because not only do you have to buy a plane ticket, you're going to stay there for 3 months, man. You need
Yeah.
you need all
So-
the money to eat.
Yeah.
Pause podcast.
Okay.
I need to tell you guys that this episode is brought to us by Athletic Greens.
Ooh, we love athletic greens.
We do.
This is gold in a box, right? Love this stuff. With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and Kelly's favorite thing in the whole world, adaptogens.
I love
There it is.
adaptogens.
This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging.
Well, not only that,
Ooh, tell me, Drone.
contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good.
Nothing budget, only
nothing,
buttery, right?
Nothing budget,
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
But it also supports better sleep quality and recovery as well.
Tons of people take multivitamins, but it's important that you choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb.
And it's also better when you not to have a full medicine cabinet full of, supplements.
Oh man.
You know,
Wait, wait, so I can get rid of all my supplements?
Yeah, I was just over at Kelly's house the other day, opened the cap. I was hit with supplements.
Get the trash can.
Yeah.
Throw them in there.
To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is just visit athleticgreens.com/9club. That's NINECLUB. Again, athleticgreens.com/9club. Take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance today,
There
which
it
is
is.
Athletic Greens.
Take over your health now.
So
Travel.
I started saving up basically from like probably March to like November that year, and that's the thing where the S game of skate comes into play.
Because you won the Europe S Game of Skate.
Exactly, and I think that's why I kind of keep that fire in me when the Battle of the Bears comes around, because the S Game of Skate was basically my ticket to the US.
Oh, wow.
Because that's like $800 right there, basically, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, quit school. Started work at the skate shop. Kept skating. Colin Clark was still in Europe, so we just kept filming.
Mm-hmm.
And that year there was the Dutch Game of Skate, and I won that one. And once you win that one, you get a ticket to compete in the European Game of Skate. And in the European Game of Skate, you have the winners from all the European countries compete for that first place to basically compete in the American Game of Skate, which is like a global game of skate.
This is S.
Mm.
S is
Yeah.
S puts
Exactly.
out
This
puts
is
it on.
still like
It's a global,
2009.
right,
yeah. So I was saving up that year.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at the skate shop, but also the S Game of Skate was also a big one for me, where it's like, yeah, if I win this thing in Holland, I get to go to Europe. And then if I do
Right.
win this, then I have my flight. And normally, if you win the S Game of Skate, which I did that year,
Oh, you have a flight to the U.S.
exactly.
for free.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you got to now the European
Yeah,
champion
exactly.
goes to the
Yeah.
U.S.
Yeah, so exactly. So that's what I was getting at. So like that's basically $800 right there that you're quote
I
unquote
see what you're okay.
saving
Got you.
by winning the
Right.
contest. But normally they would fly you in for the contest, and three days later you just
You fly
go
out.
back. Yeah.
Right.
And back then I was like, hey, can you guys extend the flight and have my return date
Mhm.
booked for like?
3 months from now.
Yeah, yeah,
Please,
yeah.
yeah.
And they were like, yeah, sure, but you do have to know that like after those 3 days,
We have-
everything else is your own responsibility. Like you're on your own. And I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm already, planning to go to the US anyway. So between earning that game and skate that flight and saving up money, I think, and also the skate shop actually helped a bit. They gave like a $150, $200 budget. So that was like really cool of them, especially coming from a skate shop.
Of
Sure.
course.
And at the time, I was also on a European wheel brand called Hayes Wheels.
Oh.
Got to give a big shout out to the owner, Bertrand.
Okay.
I'm sure if you guys see his footage, you're like, oh, we actually remember him.
Oh, sick.
OG guy,
What was his name?
Bertrand Soubry.
Was he like puzzle videos or something like that? or-
Also,
Oh, yeah.
bald guy from Paris, from...
Probably
if you see it, you're like, oh, we've seen his footage
Yeah.
before.
Skates
Cool.
from Jeremy.
Jeremy Docklin. He
Yeah.
skates with Jeremy.
Probably back in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or still, probably, yeah.
Sick.
So he actually, one thing that actually helped me a lot, he wired like, so I was already in the US at this point. He also said he wanted to help out. He wired like $200,
Okay.
but he made a mistake and he did it twice. So it
So you
was
got
like
400.
400. Yeah.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna say you had an extra zero.
Oh, that would be nice
Really
too.
good.
Yeah.
No, but, and the cool thing was I was like, hey, did you intend to send me another 200? Because you already sent me like 200 a week ago. He's like, oh yeah, went on accident, but keep it. I'm
Okay.
like, damn. But that really helped out a lot because I saved up about like $600, $700 thinking that that's a lot of money for 3 months here. and I didn't think I was gonna rent something here, of course. Like
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna meet
Couch
people.
surf. Yeah.
But still, for food and everything, it's like it just is a lot.
I
more
mean, if you're going to Ruth's Chris,
Yeah.
that's just gone in a day. So, but I think we're failing to mention though. You get to the U.S.
yeah.
and the game of skate happens, and what happens in that game of skate?
So that game of skate, I actually got sick 2 days before flying to the US. And the flu was really bad, and swine flu was going around at the
Oh my
time. So
God.
I don't know if that's what I got, but
Okay.
the flu definitely hit me different that time around than it normally would. Because I flew in, was feeling really bad, just horrible. I skated the first round, got kicked out, lost right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just feeling horrible for about a week. And then I could finally go out and skate a bit, but it still took me about like a week to 2 weeks to really feel 100% of it
100%,
again.
right?
And I feel like normally you get over the flu a bit quicker, you know?
So you got to the here and you didn't make it in the
Yeah, exactly.
right. Okay, but you're still here.
Exactly. And that was the biggest thing for me, that I was out here.
And then who were you staying with?
So that's kind of the thing that ties us back to Blind a little
Perfect.
bit. So
yeah, I love it.
before doing the European game of skate, around the time that I was skating the European game of skate, I met Chris Chan on Facebook.
Chris Chan, amazing.
And
Okay.
that's like years before he started doing his YouTube channel, or on the level he, started doing it at some point.
100%.
And he sent me a message once on Facebook saying that he saw one of my videos and that he liked it, and I was just tripping out. I was like, what? Like some kid from LA watches my stuff? Like, that's crazy. And we just started talking, and at the time I was like, hey, I'm actually, after I won the game of skate, I was like, hey, I'm actually gonna come to the US, gonna stay there for 3 months. Maybe we can meet up and skate. And back
Perfect.
then, I thought it's kind of like in Europe where
Jump.
you're on this part of town, I'm on this part, we'll both just take public transit and we'll meet there and we'll just skate around different
Right.
spots, because that's what you do in Barcelona and,
Oh
and
yeah,
Paris.
totally.
and,
Not
Amsterdam.
LA. Not LA.
Exactly. I didn't know that time at all. So him and I started talking more and more, and then he actually asked me at the time, like, hey, where are you gonna stay? And at the time, Blind Europe told me, like, oh yeah, once you go to the US, like, we can probably link you up with the Blind US team.
Perfect.
And I followed up a few times.
Mhm.
And about like 2 weeks before going, I got the message saying that like the place basically fell through because I didn't really know the guys here yet, and I would basically have to establish that relationship a bit first.
It's kind of weird.
Um,
Somebody coming in and
I
right.
mean,
Then they don't know you, right?
yeah, exactly,
So a little bit
exactly,
strange.
and I totally get it,
Right. At
So-
least if you had met one time,
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
that would have been good.
exactly.
Mm.
So, but I was kind of like, I get it, but I was like, shit, like
Yeah.
I'm leaving in about like 1 to 2 weeks to another continent, to another country, not knowing anyone there, and I've never been here before, so it's like, shit, what am I gonna do? And I talked to Christopher,
Right.
Chris Chan.
Chris Chan,
I
yeah.
call him Christopher still, but yeah. So let's just say Chris. I talked to him, and yeah, he told me like, oh, you can stay here for a few weeks.
That's rad of him to do that, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, big
and
time.
that's the thing. His family and just him, it's like basically my American family from
Amazing.
that point on.
Love that.
Because 2 weeks later, I came to the US. I flew in sick. You know, messed up. Like did the game of skate, got kicked out of the first round,
Right.
and the game of skate was out here in Lake Forest. So Chris and his dad came to pick me up,
Amazing.
and yeah, I mean, I came in there sick, and truth be told, I feel kind of lucky too that like, you know, there's a stranger coming from another country with the flu, and they just took me in, and
Yeah.
his mom just started helping me out right away and making all these like home remedies.
Amazing.
And yeah, and from that moment on, I was supposed to stay there for 2 weeks, but 2 weeks became 2 months during that
Wow.
trip. Yeah. So budget wise too, that's what I'm thinking about. Like sometimes I reflect these days, I'm like, yeah, budget wise too, it's like staying there, they actually like I could go there for dinner and everything,
Hell
and
Yeah.
like they would actually feed me basically. So I feel like that helped a lot at
Totally.
the time, because again, I thought I was coming here with a good amount of money to like, you know,
Right. For sure.
600
For sure. Yeah.
3 months. Let's
Let's
go.
go. Jeez,
so
dude.
so yeah, from that moment on, I another friend showed me how to get to Lafayette Skate Park.
Downtown.
Exactly,
I
because
feel like that's your park right there. I always see you skating there.
exactly.
I mean, Chris Chaney, you did a video with you down there.
Oh yeah,
The-
exactly.
720 biggest flip challenge. Jesus.
Wow. What?
That's fine.
Gotta rewind that.
I don't think I've ever seen that trick ever done before.
720 big. What the hell? Let's slow mo this real quick.
He actually came up with that trick. He was the one. This was like his trick challenge for me.
Damn.
Special trick right there.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway.
Yeah, that was already like when this was already like back in 2015, I think.
Yeah, but
Around
this
that
is
time.
but it's just Lafayette Park and
Yeah.
everything for sure.
Yeah, because I think Lafayette was built that year.
Uh-huh.
So
Mhm.
back then I felt like everyone from, or the majority from,
It was a hot spot for a minute.
exactly.
For
So I
sure.
would see a lot of pros out there and
Mhm.
up and coming amps. And from there on, just started meeting a lot of people, and I would literally show up at Lafayette about like 10 a.m.
Wow.
Skate there all day, or like meet people, go street skating, whether we took the bus somewhere or I would roll with someone. They would drop me off back there,
Sure.
and then I would like take the bus back to Christopher's place,
Mm-hmm.
and I would most of the time just be there till like 8 or 9 p.m.
Damn.
And that became another thing where Christopher's dad at the time was like, "Hey, you don't really want to be there too late."
Too late. Yeah.
I mean-
for sure.
Being a bit naive at the time about like just not knowing exactly about
Areas
different sections
and-
of
yeah,
LA,
Right.
being like, "Oh, 9 p.m. is not too late, right?" But
Yeah.
in certain sections, it definitely is. I mean, I would see the graffiti and all the gang tags, but
yeah.
I wasn't as aware of it that, hey, I shouldn't be solo at the bus stop
Solo, right.
with
for
my
sure.
backpack on, which makes you a bigger target too,
Totally.
at between 9 and 11 p.m.
Yeah.
You know. But anyhow, so yeah, I kept going to Lafayette a lot during that trip, just meeting people, and then about 2 months later, I stayed with someone in Oceanside. For like a week after that, I stayed in another part, like close to LA, for like 3 weeks.
Okay.
It was, at the time, there was Jordan Maxham, Tom Rohr.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Chris Whitaker.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I had met them actually before at Lafayette,
Mm.
and at some point I called them if I could stay with them. And they let me
Perfect.
stay for like, it was almost like the last 3 weeks of my trip.
Nice.
So during those 3 months, that's when I did start getting, I guess, I don't know how to say it. It's like during those 3 months, I just met a lot of people, skated around,
Mm-hmm.
filmed a lot too, with just different filmers that I met throughout that trip. And at that point, I started getting in contact with Bill Weiss, and he sent me some boards back then.
Okay.
But I hadn't met any of the U.S. Blind
Riders,
team.
right.
Yeah. So that trip was basically up, and I was like, okay, time to go back to
back.
Holland.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, I wanna save up it again to come to the States.
Did
next
you ever
year.
go to Dwindle or anything while you were here?
The first time I actually did.
You
for a
did.
quick
Okay.
day.
Good, good. Good.
So back then, I remember going to Dwindle for one day, meeting Schmatty at the time.
Oh, sick.
And he was just super cool. How he
Schmatty,
is, super
for
chill
sure.
guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
really good skater. So yeah, we just connected there, and then I remember going over to like a friend of his. We played like Sega video games all day. And
Sonic the Hedgehog or some shit.
Street Fighter.
Ah, good game. Yeah.
It is. It is. And then he invited me to come to the barracks.
Do you play Zangief when you play that game?
Blanca.
I don't, but I don't. I actually suck at Street Fighter. I was always more of a Mortal Kombat guy on the PlayStation. Yeah. I felt like I mean they down the line. Well, back in there I felt like Mortal Kombat just everything responded a lot quicker when you push the buttons. The combos are a lot quicker and everything.
That's a good point.
So you went back home to save up
you went
again.
back home.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a little flashback to like halfway my first LA trip meeting Schmatty. He invited me to go to the barracks and
the barracks. That's
Yeah.
where it comes into play.
so the barracks back then
The
was,
first barracks?
I don't think it was the very first, but the one before where it's located
Okay.
now.
Okay.
And back
Yeah.
then it was like super exclusive.
That was original. I remember seeing you back then. It was the original
Yeah,
barracks,
yeah.
but it was like the
Redone.
last. It was the last version
Yeah.
of the barracks
Yes.
of that barracks.
The original barracks was the dopest barracks,
Yeah.
I think.
So yeah, exactly. So I remember when we met there,
The two long curtain
the
ledges.
first time I went was
Oh,
like
yeah, yes,
my
yes.
trip prior.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So when we met was basically my second trip.
okay.
But yeah, I just remember getting into the barracks back then was like super exclusive. Because I remember staying with Christopher, and he was like raining that day, and I was the only one who was allowed to come in with Schmatty. And I remember it just being like a bittersweet feeling because I was like, yeah, I would love to bring Christopher in too, but
Right.
I'm only allowed to roll solo.
Wow.
And but yeah, it was really cool back then. I remember just coming into the barracks, like being pretty like nervous at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You just look left and right, see like different pros, and just you're in the barracks.
Right.
Because I'd been seeing it online, and it was like, I mean, that year I feel like, or those following years, the hype around the barracks was just
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Build-
that place,
build-
that was the,
building.
that was
For
the
sure.
place to be.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. The first building.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
I
much
remember
fun
seeing
there.
you for the first time. I think it was like some sort of game escape maybe was going on. I don't know, but you walked in and I was like, you just looked like, you was like the Terminator walked in, dude. Like straight face, dude. It's like, hello, like whatever. And then you were just like, we're landing every single trick. And we're like, who is this dude?
He was ready.
But like, when did you end up, well, actually it's down the line, like your first battle at the barracks.
But wait.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we finish up the blind stuff?
Well, I was
Because there's a
wondering-
lot of Battle of the Barracks stuff we need to get.
I
we
was
need to
just
get
wondering.
into.
I was just wondering if that was a trip that you skated in Battle at the Barracks.
No.
Okay.
The time I skated in Battle at the Barracks, which was Battle at the Barracks 4.
Oh, it was
like
way later then.
It was
Okay.
like the us versus them theme, if you remember.
Right. Yes.
That was like after my second trip.
Okay. That's
so,
what I was wondering.
Yeah.
So the blind stuff. So you go back to Holland.
Yeah, and,
And-
basically like, broke, but at the same time not really. It's like it's one of those things like, hey, I'm out of money because I've been to the US for a few months.
Right.
I'm back home, but hey, I live with my parents, so even though I have to pay for my own shit, I do have a roof above my
Right.
head.
And you probably can get another accounting job and stuff. You know. it's
So,
just
so
get-
that
yeah.
was the thing actually that at the time someone took my job.
Somebody they got a new
Oh.
accountant. Oh.
But, yeah, at the time they did have someone else in place, and
Okay,
I
okay.
mean I was gone for 3 months.
Yeah. They need
And,
the books
um,
kept.
Exactly,
Huh.
it's very important.
100%. Taxes
So,
ain't no joke.
And at the time I started looking for different jobs, went to like some agency or in
Mhm.
a hometown where like, they have different vacancies for different type of jobs. Like
Okay.
I didn't care what type of job it was. I was like, there
You
was
need
like
money.
there was like a janitor job, and I talked to some friends. They're like, yeah, but it might get dirty. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I need to work. I need to save money again. I want to go to the US. And I guess the bittersweet part of coming back to Holland was like there was more interest from my sponsor at that time, so they would take me on trips in Europe. But because of that, it was kind of in the way of earning money because I wasn't getting paid from skating. But you can't just start a job and leave for a week and then come back for 2 weeks and then leave.
You're at that pivotal moment right there
Exactly.
where stuff is happening. Out here, it's school, right? School's a big part
Yeah.
of that. It's like everything starts to happening in like, high school-ish and people drop out because like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, hey, you want to go travel? You want to do all this stuff? You have a chance of making some money here? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
And then you end up dropping out.
No doubt.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the thing back then. But then I felt like my sponsors were very cool about like, oh yeah, if you need to sell a few boards out of your box, go for it. My
Beautiful.
wheel sponsor too.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like if you need to sell a few sets of wheels, like don't even trip.
Okay.
And in Holland, the cool thing was too that I could sell a lot of my used boards because they were still pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I know a lot of people really liked the shape that I was skating. It even got to a point where someone bought a brand new board at the shop and then came to me that, hey, can I buy a used board of you because I don't like the shape.
Oh,
And
no
then-
way.
And thinking back about it, to be honest, I feel a bit like shady because it's like you have your local shop,
Yeah.
but you're selling boards here, so they're not buying from the shop. You know what I mean?
I know,
It's like,
yeah,
even
but-
though my other
yeah,
sponsors were
of
cool with
course.
it.
Dude, we all did it. It's
Yeah.
everyone.
But you know what? It's
Everyone.
different though because like back then in Holland, like that shop was the
hometown.
only in
Oh,
your
yeah.
hometown.
It
It
was
was
my
probably the
first
only
sponsor.
shop that was around
Exactly.
for a big span. Like
Yeah.
LA was little. You know, there were
Yeah,
shops
yeah.
everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And like maybe you had your shop, but yeah, I mean, we were
And also
we were
just-
all selling
Yeah.
shit.
And,
This
and
is
also
so
just
true.
yeah, and also just I mean that was my
Sorry,
first
Rick.
sponsor since I was.
Uh,
But yeah,
wasn't
so
selling boards.
But you had to do what you had to do, right? And that was the
yeah, and then
bottom.
at some point I could start work at the skate shop again, like take a few,
Mhm.
like started there again a few days a week. And
So let me ask you this: how? Because we want to. I want to get into the blind stuff because I want to know.
yeah,
Listen, blind.
she would just run through that real quick.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
go back. Then we're gonna
Yeah.
I
go
mean,
back.
like, we have so much to talk about this show because I'm super interested in the Battle of the Barracks stuff. I'm super interested in how you even got, you know, I mean, we've kind of like figured out how you've gotten over here to the U.S., but like the blind, like you got on blind. How did that happen?
So it started through.
You
so
had
I have to
met
go back again to
Bill
like
Weiss.
2008 when I
Yeah.
got on Blind Euroflow.
Mm-hmm.
That was through a distributor in Holland.
Yeah.
They knew that I wasn't getting boards anymore from the European brand
Mhm.
because the European brand didn't have a distributor in Holland anymore, and they were kind of like, well, what's the point of sponsoring you in Holland if we don't sell boards in Holland?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Even though the previous team manager, I also have to give him a shout out, Luke van Unen. I don't know.
From Noonan. Okay.
I don't know if I pronounced it right. He was actually always really cool about just like keep getting me boards, but then once he wasn't there anymore, someone else took over.
Here's my question though: was that your goal? Is Blind? Was that your favorite company, or was this something that was just on the table at that present time?
It was on the table at that time.
Who was? What was your favorite company?
I mean, at the time, to be honest, man, I didn't think about it too much. Just being on any American brand was like, they'll just be awesome.
Okay.
I was always kind of like, whatever comes my way, like you have to kind of take it
Take it.
because it was like,
Opportunities on the table.
yeah, it's like you have to appreciate every opportunity. And I also just felt like I don't have the luxury, like maybe, and that's not to bash on anyone, but some people had where they could say, I don't want to write for that brand.
Mm.
I'll just keep buying boards if anything. I just felt like if
Okay.
I say no, I need to find a side job and I'm just going to be only working to be able to afford boards.
Okay.
Like,
I mean,
you know?
reasonable for sure.
I definitely, I mean, if I really think back at the time, I mean, we're talking about 2008, so like
Yeah.
all the KO stuff, like Expedition 1, I was a big fan of it.
Okay.
BGK,
Perfect.
Girl Chocolate, Plan B. I mean, there's honestly a lot of
Sure.
lot of.
I was just
different
wondering
brands.
if that was your passion, was Blind, and like this was the thing. I'm sure it maybe became that later once you get to know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just,
and I think too with Blind, it was never as much for me about like the brand itself. It was like in the beginning, it was like, hey, they're sending me boards. I need boards. I really like their boards.
right.
And just the interaction with the team manager once I
Mm.
met the Euro TM, and then
Okay.
once I got on Blind in US, the interactions there, and just staying busy with filming, I felt like that process was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I did have people actually try to talk me out of it back in Holland, like, oh no, you might not want to do that. But I was like, again, it was an opportunity that was on the table, and I did like the Blind videos that I'd seen.
Yeah.
And
Not that Blind's a bad company. I mean, they had great team writers, but sometimes in the skateboarding world, we come to find out that like once you're associated with a certain company, like you it's hard to ditch that association.
I mean, that's what I've kind of started hearing later and later.
Sure.
Like, people here and there start
Sure.
whispering those things in your ear. But I think also maybe, I don't know if it's the way I grew up, where it's like, if I don't know, if you wear Nikes or you wear, I don't know, what's a wax shoe brand? I mean, you can blur it out. I don't know, something that's
No.
like frowned upon. If not even in skating, just
I think we all know.
I mean,
Let's not talk. We
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
We love
Yeah.
everyone. We love every shoe company.
yeah.
Skechers.
Okay. If you come up in Skechers or in Nike, I don't
Right.
care. Like, to me, you're still Chris Roberts. We have a good
Beautiful.
convo,
Yes.
you know. But unfortunately, when it comes to being on the outside,
Yeah.
those things matter to
It's
people.
perception.
Exactly.
For sure.
So what I was getting to, like, just growing up, it's like, yeah, I didn't really care too much about branding and whatnot. Like, as long as I could skate, I'm happy.
Okay.
And whatever comes after, like, I'll see it then.
Okay.
And I just was not aware of any of the, oh, you might want to be on this brand because it's going to open doors, or if you're on this
Yeah.
brand, it might close doors. Like, I was really unaware of that at the time.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so Blind, how did you initially get on then?
So,
Like, what was the final straw
I think the Dutch distributor put a word out, or like, to Blind Europe that,
Okay.
like, hey, that, you know, I wasn't getting boards anymore whatsoever. And yeah, that's when I got a call from Blind that they watched some of my footage. Like, I sent them some footage back then. They watched it. They were down to start flowing me boards.
Okay.
So that's where it started. Blind
Still through the distributor
and Flow.
and Flow.
Yeah.
Got you.
Because at the time, 2008, like,
Mhm.
people on the European teams were actually getting paid.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you skated for DVS for the longest. Like,
Yeah.
back then, you actually had the American DVS squad, which is like the main squad,
Yep.
and then you have like the squad in different countries. You have like DVS Europe or DC Europe, and like everyone
Yeah.
was getting paid at the time.
Right.
But after the crash in 2008, 2009,
yeah.
and then I feel like all of that started shrinking
Yeah.
outside of the US.
Mm.
Probably in here too, in the US too, because if it shrinks here, it's gonna
For
shrink.
sure.
Yeah,
For sure. They
It's
got to
gonna trickle,
cut
for
all
sure.
the
Yeah.
cut corners and stuff.
So, but yeah, so late 2008 is when I got my start with Blind. So that's before I went to Paris on that trip.
Yes. So, but then when did you officially get on though? Like
Officially
the
was-
U.S. brand.
Yeah, so came to the US for my first 3 months.
Yep.
Went back to Holland,
Mhm.
started saving up again for another year. Even though I wasn't able to save enough money at
Yeah.
the time, because I just worked less that year, just less days, less hours,
Mhm.
to work at the skate shop or any other jobs, because I was going on trips more often.
Sure.
There was like the Fans Downtown Showdown in Germany, and we actually got third place with the Blind Euro team.
Okay.
And I think everyone got like about $1,000. So, you know,
Perfect.
when we had that, because that was like 3 months before I was trying to go to the US, so getting that money from that contest was like
Right.
almost felt like a
Perfect
wild
timing.
card basically.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, there was another yearly European Game of Skate,
Mm-hmm.
and I entered again. And this actually trips me out till this day, because at the time, I was like really determined, like, okay, I gotta win this thing, because if I win, I get a flight to the US again, and I get to be there again for 3
Here's
months.
it all over again.
Exactly. So I actually ended up getting second.
Mm.
So I didn't win that flight, and you guys can probably show it, and you can probably see it on my face. It was
What
like,
year?
This was late 2010.
Late 2010.
The
Okay.
European S Game of Skate.
2010 year. Okay.
So I just lost
See if
that
we can
game,
pull it up.
and the guy I lost to, his name's Joachim Johansson. He's
Mhm.
from Sweden.
Okay.
We're walking out, and he's like, "You can have my ticket. I don't want to go."
Really?
Wow.
So normally when people sometimes throw the word luck around, like, "Oh, you're so lucky," it's often a lot of nonsense. But
Sure.
in this case, I truly believe that's called being lucky. The
Mhm.
fact that he's like, I mean, to be fair too, at the time I feel like just looking at just body language and my facial expression, it was like
Mhm.
a very bittersweet moment, or like not even bittersweet, but a bit confusing, because I was like, all the other people that won the contest and myself were trying to convince him, like, hey, you should go, like, you did win fair and square. And I felt that way too, like, even though he wants to give me the ticket, I don't really want to take it.
Right.
But he was just so adamant about me going, and right before the
Is this it?
yeah, this is the one.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so this is the finals, the European Game Skate finals.
So did he give? So you got second. Did he give you the ticket? Did he?
Yeah.
He gave you the ticket.
Yeah. So before the Game of Skate actually started, they did some cash for tricks. So
Uh-huh.
I won some cash for tricks. It was like $40.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. So I was like, man, like, after myself and everyone else tried to convince him to, like, just go because it's your
Mhm.
ticket, he just was so adamant about me going instead,
Wow.
and he was just, I don't want to go.
Were you friends with him?
Wow.
Did you know him?
No, we just met that night.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
over there, just like the few
So he
hours.
signed the ticket over to you, and
Yeah.
now here you are coming to the U.S. again.
Yeah. So
Chris Chan, let's get the dinner ready. Let's get some breakfast going.
Basically,
You know.
so the cash I had in my wallet from Cash for Tricks, I was like, man, like this is the least I can do. Here's some money that I just
Wow.
won. And he's like, okay, thanks. Like this will help me when I get back home to pay the cab. Okay, cool. And then I did hit up my sponsors to talk about the situation and that about to go to the US again. And Dwindle Europe did send them like a nice box with a lot of boards, wheels, and
Beautiful.
they just said like, first of all, congrats on winning the Game of Skate. Second, thanks for giving the flight to our riders,
Sure.
basically. So that was like, I mean, I have some photos when I'm reflect on it now. It's like I remember some people being like, "Yeah, you're so like salty back then." About I was more confused if anything,
Really?
because of course I really wanted to win that Game of Skate to get the flight,
Yeah.
but because that's honestly the thing with me and the Game of Skate is that it was never necessarily about the sake of winning. It was never like, oh, I want to win just to win. It was literally, if I win, I get to go to the US. I get to work on my dream, basically.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to respect that for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So when you get back, I'm assuming that this next trip out to LA is the trip that
Started getting
everything
on
are
blind.
getting
Yeah.
on blind.
So I went to Houston.
What's so funny?
We talk about how he's gonna get up blind for the last hour and a half.
I know, but I'm just like because I want like we.
Well, because we were kind of talking
You're-
about
you're-
like
you're
a span
telling-
of 10 years, and then
I
go
know,
back,
but
so
like I'm just
so much has happened in between.
But here's the thing that you got to. It's like this man sitting right here is like been on this journey, right? You've been
Yeah.
on this journey of like how you were living in Holland, and here we have this dream to come to the U.S. and it's all happening through these games of skate,
Yeah.
right? Which you want to touch on and bring it to the table, right?
Yeah.
So
So here you can see back 180 backfoot flip.
Oh,
I like doing nollie late flip switch, but regular and fake is just.
right,
I mean, you
and
can
he's
tell,
already
like-
got you SKAT.
Oh yeah. It's like
And boom, there you go.
that's such a
Checkmate.
dirty
Checkmate
last
right there.
trick to do,
Oh
man.
yeah, it's so
Oh,
dirty, man.
Nah.
Goddamn Yoakum. No, I'm just kidding.
I think if it's popped and it flips, everything is fine.
But you know what I mean, though.
You know?
Like but I mean the graciousness of him giving you the ticket. You
Oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like that's crazy, right?
it
He
is.
had
Yeah,
no concern of going
Yeah.
to the U.S. and he, So anyway, so you get out here.
Yeah, so back then the S Global Game and Skate was in Houston at what is it, Southside Skate Park, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Combined with the Make a Wish Foundation.
Yep.
There you go.
So I skated the S Game of Skate, the M Game of Skate, and actually got first on that one.
There you
so that was
go.
like a big thing back then. It was like way before smartphones or before I had my hands on a
Sure,
smartphone.
sure.
I remember getting to the hotel just like emailing him like,
I
because I had this
won.
email, I was just like, hey, I did actually win, and him just saying like, I even though it's skateboarding, even though I'm already in the US and it's not, so to speak, as competitive anymore because I felt like I'm already here.
Mm-hmm.
I did kind of feel at the time like I kind of got to do it for him.
Oh wow.
Well, not
Sick.
necessarily like win, but for sure I have to give it my all.
Give it your
you
all
know?
for sure.
So, but yeah, I
You won it.
Yeah.
Boom. And that must have just helped the blind situation.
I don't think necessarily.
Why not?
I don't know.
You don't
I
think
don't
that
know.
it played a part
Yeah.
in it?
I mean, I think it was more about me actually being back in California, and I stayed with Schmatty for a week.
Okay.
And then I think he was living close to Stoner Park at the time, and I already connected with Bill Weiss
Bill Weiss,
before
okay.
coming to the States and telling him again about that I'm staying for like 3 months.
Mhm.
And Bill Weiss came to Stoner Park to meet up, and I think that was the year that like the Blind Sunday Fun Day started on Transworld.
Got you.
And yeah, we just started filming for one of those. And
Yeah.
I just felt like we connected pretty, just easy. I mean, you guys know Weiss.
Oh, yeah, he's
a
great dude.
Yeah.
The best
great dude, real dude. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it was fun. And to me, it was like, oh shit, like now I'm actually skating and filming with the team manager / like brand manager, like
Of a
decisions.
U.S. company.
Exactly.
Mm.
So yeah, we filmed that Sunday Fun Day, and yeah, I was supposed to stay with Schmatty for a week. And after that week, I didn't really have anywhere to stay.
Mm.
And the thing that, well, after that week,
Chris Chan. What about
yeah,
Chris
so that's
Chan?
the thing. I
Good food,
yeah,
great hospitality.
I think at that time we kind of talked it through with Chris and his parents, where it's like, hey, if Chris is home, like on the weekends or like he has school vacation, like you can be here, but
Mhm.
when he's not home, like have to be somewhere
You
else.
got about okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
not in a bad way, but just like, and it's
Yeah.
totally understandable. 'Cause
For sure.
Like, I mean, also just you know how it is when you have people over. It's different.
And you don't want to
sure.
overstay your welcome,
Exactly.
Never.
for sure. Here's a
Yeah.
Sunday fun day at a Stoner Park, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So amazing.
So yeah, and I hit up Weiss just like, hey, you know, basically saying I don't have a place to stay.
Mhm.
Is there any possibility to stay with you? And yeah, he was super cool. He's just like, well, I have you know, couple kids, like
Mhm.
a newborn, and I live with my wife. I don't know if you're really gonna enjoy yourself, but you're welcome to stay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, that also meant a lot to me. Always up till today, I think about it because again, even if you just live solo, it's already a lot when you have someone staying over. But especially when you live with your family with a
Yeah.
3-year-old and a 3-month-old, you know.
Right. 100%.
So but yeah, I started staying with him, and from that moment on, we just started going out and
Amazing.
film. Cameron Romer would come out on the session, so that's how I met him. Yeah, we started filming some Blind Sunday Fun Days at like different skate parks with the team, running, you know, Ronnie, Morgan
Hell
Smith.
yeah. So you got to know everybody,
Basically,
and then it was and then everybody. I mean, because I'm sure just everything clicked.
basically, but at the same time though, even though I stayed with Weiss,
Yeah.
I only stayed there for about a week and a half, and those 3 months that I stayed in the U.S. during my second trip, that's when I actually really started couch surfing. So it's like I'm at Weiss' place for a week, then I met a filmer, Darian. You guys probably know Darian Brown,
Darian,
really
yeah.
amazing
Mhm.
filmer.
Right.
Met him on one of the sessions. He let me stay for like a week.
Sick.
And then, yeah, some days I'm just like, with all my shit, just like, I don't know where I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
And at the time, too, I didn't have a phone on me here. I just had a paper with a few phone numbers, and I would use the 25-cent payphones at the time a lot,
Right,
and just
right,
use
man.
public transit. Like sometimes someone could give me a ride to like a bus stop or a train station. I would take public transit, go to the next place, not knowing, you know, where I'm gonna stay from tomorrow on, because tonight is covered.
For sure.
Tomorrow, I know where I'm gonna stay,
Wow.
and I feel like that kind of became my trips for the following years.
Oh.
But during that specific trip, during my second time, I did start going to the barracks more often. I got to bring Chris Chan.
Yep.
So that was always really fun, like having a +1 and,
For sure.
and just being able to bring, you know, a friend with me.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we met.
Okay. Yeah.
And during those 3 months of couch surfing and just meeting people, that's when I was filming for Blind This Is Not a Test, which was a
Okay.
ham video that was
Sure.
in the works.
Mm-hmm.
So during those few months, that's when I filmed.
That's when you filmed the AM.
yeah,
Okay.
that's when I filmed that part.
Right. Right. Which we have here somewhere.
Because yeah, I know. Sometimes I just start telling this story, and I feel like almost as if the trips became more about couch surfing than skating. But it was like couch
Well,
surfing,
it's-
just moving place to place. Because
Well,
again,
It's a journey, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
definitely.
It's a journey, and like you come. This is also the time too. It's like, you know, you coming from a different country.
yeah, that was actually the very first trick we filmed for the video.
The hard foot back nose grind. You coming from a different country and trying to do all this stuff, it's hard. You know, it's hard for some people. Have it easy, right? We talk about it all the time. Even Canadians, they come down here. It's so hard. They got to jump through all these hoops. They got to climb this ladder. It's like, it's fucking difficult. You know, it's like, and but you made it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
it's-
couch surfed, you did your thing, you hit up Weiss, you connected with all these people, barracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like made it happen. You manifested
up.
it, you know?
I mean, thinking back, it's like, you know, when I was going through it, it's like sometimes it gets a bit old because it's like, yeah, you don't want to overstay your welcome, but I am overstaying my welcome because I know it gets probably annoying when I'm calling again from some payphone, like, hey, do you have a place
Right.
tomorrow night or stuff like that? And
Yeah.
but the cool thing about people is like, and that's what trips me out the most, that people were actually so welcoming and actually
Mhm.
like, yeah, sure, like stay on the floor, stay on the couch, like people who live with their girlfriends, or in Weiss' case, I did have my own room there, but he lives with his family, and again, Christopher and his parents just letting me stay there. So it's
Yeah.
like, I definitely feel very thankful and just blessed that people really opened their homes to me. And shit, man, I remember going from the Union Station, walking to the bus stop, and I mean, you guys know Emrit.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember walking.
He's the man.
Yeah, exactly. But
Straight
just walking over this on this crosswalk with all my shit, and he hit me up from the car. He's like, "Hey, Seba, you need a ride?" Like he didn't even ask me where to, what's
Yeah.
there. Like he didn't have to.
He
do
just
that at
happened to
all.
be driving by.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I was going to the bus stop to go to Chris Chan's because
Oh.
at some point we talked. Well, Chris and his parents and I talked about, hey, I can be there on the weekends when he's
Okay.
there, when Chris is there. So, but yeah, Emirates. I mean, he just gave me a ride. It was like 15-minute ride, but
Dude.
it
Dope.
saved me about an hour and a half.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
That's
I had to
rad,
walk
man.
to the bus stop, get on one bus, get to another one, and then still walk for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But again, it's just the fact that he didn't ask me.
Yeah.
He just like I think he was about to hang out with his girl at the time or something. Like just the fact that he takes out part of his evening
Yeah.
to take me to wherever I'm staying.
It's rad, man, because I could tell like the littlest things mean like a lot to you.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know? And I think
100%.
that's awesome. You know, because it is skateboarding, right? And I feel like any of us or any skater out there can go travel around the world and pretty much find skateboarders
Yes.
and bond with them, and maybe even have a place to stay with them. You know, you don't have to be pro, you don't have to fucking be am. You could just be a skateboarder. You know, and just us skateboarders alike will take a skateboarder in.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's awesome.
yeah.
You
I
do it.
definitely think it's
Ain't no baseball players taking each other in like that.
oh, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
just
Well,
to
they're
someone
making-
random.
yeah.
yeah
No,
make it someone
a
random.
little
You
high
see-
school baseball player, you know,
Oh,
who
yeah.
travels around to Europe and
Yeah.
trying to find other baseball players to go stay at their house. Like, it's not going to happen.
Ain't nothing like skateboarding.
You gotta go to the
on.
batting
100%.
cage. Just go to the batting
Oh
cage.
yeah, the batting cage. You'll find a place to stay.
But then I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, I don't think I can see it in any other setting.
Yeah, But I
that
love
someone
that.
I
that
love
you just
that.
meet someone and be like, oh yeah, you don't have to play stay, just come stay with me tonight.
Right.
And of course, then you also kind of find out why some people don't necessarily want people over, because I started doing that once I started living here, and nothing bad, but it's just like it. I mean,
It's a lot.
when you have
Yeah,
life
it's a
going
lot.
on,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's
That's
it's
your
a lot.
personal
Yeah,
space.
you
but,
have to,
you know.
and you also skating now. You have to. You're taking care of them.
Exactly.
And it's a
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, and
you
that's
know.
why when you say like
You're the host.
that a lot of those things mean a lot to me, it's because again, talk about Bill Weiss.
Mm.
Throughout my later trips, it was like I'm taking the train from LA Union Station to Santa Ana, but I need to be in Costa Mesa. I didn't know what bus lines were going there, but I knew Bill wasn't living like super far from the Santa Ana station. And it's again me calling him like, hey, is it possible to get a ride to this place? But like he should just be chilling with his family without
Right.
having to worry about someone else.
Right.
That's how I
Yeah.
see it.
Right.
But he would actually come pick me up, and either I would stay with him that night again, or he would drop me off wherever I would stay at. So that's why I feel like, just reflecting back on all that, it's like, yeah, it always meant a lot to me, because
Crazy. I love
at the end of
that.
the day, no one has to help in any shape or form at
I
all.
love
Yeah.
it. dude. I love it.
Shout out to Bill Weiss
Oh,
and
100%.
Emirates
Yeah.
for those
yeah.
And
situations.
so many more, so
and
many
so
more,
many more,
yeah.
you know.
I might have just driven right past you, but there's Seva. Amazing.
Yeah.
He's got a suitcase and
Yeah,
everything.
that's
No,
for you. Exactly. And to be fair, I wouldn't blame you either.
That's it. I mean,
I would not blame you.
you are very, very.
Chris
nice
wouldn't have
dude,
looked
bro.
at you. You'd be like, "Hey, Chris," and he'd be like, just keep going.
Who is that, Seva?
You're like, "Who is that dude?"
No, so, probably somebody else will grab him.
That's not it.
It's Emirates or something. Okay,
So,
so I want to know
yeah.
first and foremost.
How'd you get on
How'd
mine?
you get
What,
it?
no, what happened? What happened with Blind? All these years later,
Yeah,
you quit.
so,
Why?
So yeah, so
Because you had a good run on Blind. Let's
I
not.
did, yeah.
You had a lot of
I
video
did.
parts. You
Yeah.
had- I mean, that they gave you your career. Bill Weiss,
yeah.
team manager, picking you up, didn't have to do all that stuff, and like
Exactly.
now you feel like the time has come where you need to exit out of the company. What? Or
Yeah, so,
what,
so
why?
there's a few sides to that. As you said, I did a few video parts with Blind.
Sure.
Did This is not a test, and then we went straight into the Damn video,
Mm-hmm.
and I was super excited about that because I was like, well, I filmed it. This is not a test part in less than 3 months while couch surfing, while not even filming every day, you know,
Crazy, bro.
because sometimes I didn't have a filmer for a week.
Mm.
And also skateboarding, you know how it is. Sometimes you go out and you just don't get clips because you get kicked out or you just
It's crazy.
don't get it.
Yeah. for sure.
So yeah, once we finished This Not a Test, I remember coming back to Holland, and this was the moment where I got a call from, I think, the TM in Europe, like, hey,
Mm.
you know, great job on the trip, everything you've been doing.
Mhm.
We're gonna start paying you, and at the time it was like
Beautiful.
a couple $100 a month, and I mean they went a really long way.
Yeah.
And I still started, I started work at the skate shop again, but it was like, it just felt like, hey, like things are in motion now,
Happening,
you know?
moving,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So again, I was in Holland for nearly a year, saving up money again. Now it was just a little easier because of the paycheck I got from Line plus the money I was making at working at the skate shop. So, really taking me back to memory lane. Like there's just certain details here where I'm like, hey, certain details aren't as important. So I'm really trying to leave those out.
that's the thing though. Is that's the 100%.
Yeah.
And I know that. Here's the thing, though. Is I know everybody's got a story, right? We all have the journey, right? We all end up at the same place, but and that's why I love this show, right?
Because that year, SK Musket wasn't around anymore, so that was not an option anymore to earn a flight. But that year, they started doing the Red Bull Many Mania on a bigger scale, and that like the Many Mania across the whole world, like every country hosted a Many Mania, and the winners from each country would actually come to New York to skate the global Many Mania.
I don't, it's funny, man. I don't even realize how important some of these contests are for people. You know what I mean? Like you hear about like, oh, this game of skate. Oh, all the people in Europe are going to come over here and play together. Like you kind of tend to forget like how important.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was the case.
Are for some people.
Yeah.
And
the
also,
Red Bull Many Mania coming over here, like this is their opportunity. This is a guy that worked in a skate shop and he's trying to get over here to like make something happen.
So at the time, also felt like the Many Mania was actually more global compared to the S Game of Skate, because the S Game of Skate was like you first have to win in your own country to skate the European Game of Skate, and if you win the European one, only one European gets to go to the US.
Right.
And in the US, it's like winners from every state. The Red Bull Many Mania was one winner from the US, which I think was like Seba Walker at the time.
Oh God.
Just one person only.
Yeah.
And winners from every other country in the world. So it's like people from different European countries, including myself. It's like Brazil, Australia. And it was a similar thing like the S Game of Skate. You have the M division first.
Right.
And then I end up winning that one. And because of that, you get to skate with the pros the next day. And
I remember
I got second at the pros.
Okay.
And there was some prize money there too that helped me out a lot coming to the US for my third time.
Wow. Perfect.
Yeah, I remember that that contest. The year before, it was like you got invited to skate in it, and they invited, and I got third. And the next year, I was still amped this time. They wouldn't let me skate the pro one. They said I had to go do the contest that you did because I wasn't pro yet. And I was like, dude, I got third last year.
Damn.
Chris Naracco would not budge.
Wow.
I was like, damn. And that was the year that you took. I mean, I was like, I can't come close to these dudes. These guys are nuts.
And, I mean,
He was doing you a favor.
Yeah.
little side note though, and this is when I was like 13, 14, I remember just being really bad at manis, but I actually modeled a lot of my manis after you.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
Hey.
No way.
I remember being like 13, 14, and then being really bad at manis. And when I was 15, I kind of started figuring them out. In my hometown, we had, in Holland, it just rains a lot. In my hometown, there was like no indoor park or whatsoever, but we had a lot of parking lots. And one had like a mani pad, it's like curb height.
Perfect.
And I just remember practicing manis and remember watching your clips in the KO video and the KO promo where you do like nollie shove and nose mani on the courthouse stage.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, it was always like just the way you would lock in your manis and kind of like just flow, chill. That's what I started practicing back then. Like, he like lands a certain way so he can kind of lock it in. And at the time, it's like, that's how I want to do manis.
Wow, that's crazy to hear, man.
That's just more like a
dope.
side note, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks,
Yeah,
man. That's
so-
cool. Well, I'm glad I could help out.
Little did you know.
That's tight.
So these contests help out a lot. That's the
They-
moral
they
of the
really
story.
did.
It's
Yeah,
like,
they really
and
did.
that's the thing is I didn't even realize that. It's
Yeah.
like that's super interesting. And you got out here and you did it. Okay, we have to.
You gotta talk about.
That was
wait.
my New York trip. So
Okay.
again, that was one of those trips where you come skate the contest.
We have a lot to go over, Seva.
Yeah,
We have a
do we?
lot to go over, bro. Tell me one thing. Why did you quit blind? No,
Okay,
I
so
know.
let's
Listen,
get into it.
I
Yeah,
just
let's
know.
get
Like,
into it.
I need to know this.
Yeah. So okay, years pass. I'm doing a few more video parts with blind, and there's a few aspects of it.
Okay.
I've already been on blind for a bit.
Yep.
Had a lot of fun skating with Weiss with the squad,
Great
filming
people.
for these projects. Yeah. Then at some point, I did have, and I want to be very honest about
Sure,
this. Like at
yeah.
some point, I did have more people whisper in my ear, like, "Hey, blind might hold you back a little bit in the skate industry." And I was
Okay.
like, "No, it's fine." Like, you know, it's and to me, it was still like, "Hey, it's an American brand," and I didn't want to hear it, and
Right.
still till today, I still feel like, well, maybe if it was on a different brand, I don't know. I sometimes do believe that the path would have maybe still led to the similar
Same
outcome.
place. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, like that became just a little bit of noise mainly. But I was like, I don't care. Like I'm on an American brand, love skating with the squad.
Yeah.
Whenever we didn't do as many trips, but whenever we did go on trips, it was a lot of fun. I felt like everyone on Blind is super talented, but also just has a good hand on their shoulders.
Sure.
Just
I mean, you got T.J. Rogers,
Exactly.
Kevin
Yeah.
Romar. I mean, everybody on that squad was great.
But then it just got to a point where I felt like we're doing video parts, and I've had a great run, and I kind of want to see if there's something new for me.
Okay.
And I did have in the back of my mind where it's like, well, what if it is true that maybe if I do skate for someone else, it might open some doors.
Okay.
But that
okay.
was more in the back of my
Sure.
mind. That wasn't like the main reason. And there was a thing where I felt like sometimes when we do bring out blind videos that all the skating was really amazing, and again had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
But for some reason it didn't get the impact that I felt it could deserve just based on the
interesting.
level of skating.
Right.
And everyone can have different opinions on that. But that also became a thing in the back of my mind where it's like, well, maybe, I've had a good run.
Right.
Maybe it's time to see if anything else is out there to like basically bring your art, so to speak, to a different platform.
For sure.
And just keep enjoying the process, just keep skating. And also one of the reasons I eventually moved to the US was to stay busy, to skate with a team. And with Blind, we didn't do that as much. And I don't want this to sound like I'm putting this negative stuff on Skating for Blind, because it was actually really good, because even though we didn't go out as much with the squad because everyone lives in different places, we had a lot of freedom with Blind. It was not like, hey, you guys have to go out with the squad and film. It was like, just do what you do. And,
yeah.
and when you have
And that's a
quit-
beautiful thing.
Exactly. We had a
It
lot of
is. It
freedom.
is.
It was a lot of fun. So, but at some point, once I turned pro on Blind and once I signed a contract, at some point, again, I was thinking about these things that were like starting to bubble up a bit in the back of my mind. Like,
Sure.
oh, maybe I do want to, see if there's something else out there for me. And, but there was a contractual issue,
Okay.
and
Well, they're making your boards, right? They're protecting themselves.
yeah, but there was not that issue.
Okay.
And on one hand, I want to stay very politically correct. On the other hand, I'm like, well, this whole thing going on, but
Doesn't matter, right? I mean,
yeah,
they're done.
but I actually also think it's important. Like, shit, if only one person hears it, then it could help them.
Sure.
I signed a 3-year pro contract,
Okay.
and I don't know. Do you think that's long or not? I think it's.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I
But
don't know. It depends.
it's all right,
It depends.
right?
It's all right.
It
Yeah.
depends how you see it.
Yeah.
And that's how I saw it. I was like, oh, 3 years, that's fine.
Okay.
When I talked to like later when I started working with some agent, they're like, oh, that's a bit long. It should be like 1 or 2
1
years.
year.
I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
but sometimes you want to be locked in too. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah, you want to feel
This
that
depends on the
security.
deal.
I don't know.
really,
Like,
but-
Girl never had
We never had contracts.
contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
a lot of board companies don't have
Right.
contracts.
yeah.
So,
But it was a 3-year contract, and I was like, yeah, that's totally fine, you know. And but after 1 year, I was starting to think more and more like, well, maybe it would be nice to see if any other options are open, but I have a few more years.
sure.
All good. I know what I signed up for. It is what it is.
Yeah.
There was a clause in the contract that could have locked me in for an additional 9 years, and that's
What was the clause?
I don't know if you have to at some point blur things out or not.
Additional
No,
9
no,
years.
because
But I just think it's very important for people to know.
I'm going to tell you my contract story after you tell yours.
Okay.
Because contracts are fucked up sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
So there was a clause in there that basically said that Dwindle the language is the company basically has the option to extend its contract with a few more periods of a few more years. And this is my fault that I didn't ask about that.
Sure.
Because you know how it often is in skating. You're like, oh, you're buddy with people from the company.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
and in my mind, I was like, oh, it's like a two-way street. If I agree, we extend it.
Yeah.
That clause specifically means that it's on their terms.
They have
with-
the option to
without-
lock you in.
without renegotiation.
That's crazy.
But
Whoa,
there was
that's
one
a
part
weird
of the
one.
That's
Yeah.
super weird.
yeah.
yeah, I did a lot of research during that time, and I was like,
Yeah.
like nowadays I'm very, I really
You have to be.
yeah. But anyhow, so I was still riding for blind. We still did some trips, and it was a lot of fun. But it got to a point more and more was like, yeah, maybe I should really try to see if there are other options out there.
Okay.
But I'm kind of stuck with this clause. But there was one specific clause too that said they had to notify me in writing if they wanted to extend another period.
Okay.
And yeah, I had like an agent that knew about it and another friend, and they also knew when my first 3 years were up. And yeah, I kind of kept fingers crossed, like, hey, if they, that I don't get a message saying that they're gonna renew it. And yeah, they didn't renew it, and
Wow.
well, they didn't send me a message. And I remember getting a text from this friend like, hey, congrats, you're a free man.
Oh wow.
And this is not to talk anything bad on blind or anything, but that specific clause though is definitely one thing for me that like it was only a short window for me. If I wanted to leave, I had to leave during that time because
Okay.
my agent at the time told me too, like, if you really want to leave, you should do it now, because if you stay on and they don't, send you notifications, still by default, they can say, hey, you already extended to your second term. So,
Crazy.
so
Interesting.
that was like that short window. And I was like, well, even if I don't have another, board
Yeah.
brand to fall back on, or even if nothing happens for me down the line, like, I'm okay with
This
that.
is you felt like that at the time that was like your safest option.
Well, I was just like, I don't want to look back in 10 years from now and be like, hey, but what if I did try to leave? Because being on blind, I was getting paid and was getting boards, and we did have a lot of
Well,
fun.
I'll tell you this right now, man. It wouldn't have been 9 years because a couple years later they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no one could have
doubt.
foreseen that,
Yeah.
though. at the
100%.
time.
100%.
But I do have to say that's why I became very, well, I don't know how you would, like, really nitpick contracts where
yeah.
it's like, hey, what does this mean?
Well, you know-
because contracts, you know how it is too. It's like a lot of language is kind of open for interpretation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this, man, and I've told this story on the Nine Club before, and sorry for everybody that's heard this before, but like I skated for Audio, right?
Yeah.
Their contract was crazy. I had a friend whose brother was a lawyer, gnarly lawyer, just
Yeah.
New York, just gnarly lawyer. Like his name and whatever that holds weight. Send him the contract. He calls me back in 5 minutes of me sending the contract to him. He's like, "Do not sign this." He's like, "This is crazy. This is so one-sided." And so I was like, "What? Okay." He had to go back and forth with Audio to rearrange the contract, which scared me as a skater.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh my God, like they're not going to want to like
Yeah.
do business with me because I have this lawyer now dealing with them and making revisions on this contract and everything." Like basically, like they could have gotten rid of me if I sneezed.
Yeah.
I couldn't have gotten rid of them if I, it would be a lot harder for me
Oh,
to
yeah.
get rid of them,
Well,
right?
one, that's
Always
a-
one-sided for sure.
Always one-sided. And so they rewrote the whole contract and everything, and it just goes to show, because when Audio finally like shut their doors, they still had to pay me for another 8 months or something,
Yeah.
because it was in the contract that like, hey, if they got rid of me, they had to like,
Live up to the
live
contract.
up to the contract.
Yeah.
Which if he never rewrote it, I would have just been done, no money, nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
But yeah,
thank God for that.
Oh yeah. So that's before you signed. So
Oh,
that's, yeah.
100%. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
But you're right. I mean,
It's
they could have
shady.
easily too.
Totally.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I sometimes with contracts where, and I've seen different contracts over the years, and I've also been trying to help some of the up and coming skaters.
Totally,
like, hey,
man.
I'm not a lawyer, but if you want me to help, like,
Yeah.
hey, know that you can ask for X,
For
Y,
sure,
Z,
for
and
sure.
and please understand what you're signing because of my experience. But yeah, a lot of contracts have something where it's like, hey, even if you have, let's say you have a 10-year contract, you're like, oh, I'm locked in, I'm good for 10 years. No, you're not, because most of the time there's a clause in the contract that says if you get hurt, then they can just terminate the contract.
totally.
And-
It's very one-sided. There's a
it's always
reason
to protect
why
themselves,
Yeah.
man.
they have a
And
contract.
I get it too. At the end of the day, it's business, so it's like I don't agree necessarily with certain clauses, but I also know if I did speak up, they would have changed it.
And
no
that's
problem.
the
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like a
For
lot
sure.
of skaters don't have lawyers. A lot of
No.
skaters are just like, "Oh, cool, I'm going to get X amount of money. Okay, here's my sign."
Yeah,
on
People
the
can't.
dot,
They don't even
right?
know how to. it's a different like language almost. So it's
One
hard to
word can be the
Yes.
difference between.
Yeah, it's like we don't.
Even one
A lot of
comma.
skaters
Yeah.
don't understand what they're actually saying in the contracts.
Even if you read it,
Yeah.
you're fully not going to understand.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's better to
But
have
you have to be
a second pair of
bilingual.
eyes
Yeah.
to look
Yeah.
at it, especially like a good lawyer that's going to have your best interest, man.
For sure, for sure.
But yeah, so
So you got out of there.
yeah, so
At the
and
t-
it was a clean break, and
Okay,
and
that's good.
that too, like Blind won the Dew Tour like two times in a row,
Mm-hmm.
and even though I wasn't on Blind anymore, I still went over with my wife to celebrate with
Love that.
with the squad, and when I left Blind, actually, I was actually in Europe at the time.
Mhm.
And I called Weiss up, and yeah, we talked it through,
Amazing.
and
He was good with it.
oh yeah, super
Yeah.
chill, and yeah, I mean, I personally feel like, especially from a personal point of view, I can't thank him enough,
That's
Amazing.
dope.
Yeah.
and
That's dope.
and with everything I just told you.
Those breakups can be hard, man.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know.
It was definitely, I definitely felt a bit of a heartbreak
Sure.
in a sense.
Of course.
But again, I think the same with me coming to the US, not
Mhm.
knowing what really was going to happen, coming from Holland to, try to pursue skating. I always felt like, well, if it doesn't work out, then at least I know. I kind of felt the same way. Like, hey, if I leave Blind and nothing ever opens up for me for
Totally.
whatever reason,
Right.
at least I tried.
You
Yeah.
still have accounting.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
I feel like not as much anymore.
What do you mean?
Well, you
Not as
still
much
got it,
anymore.
dude.
You're owning your own companies now. Like somebody's got to do the
Yeah.
books.
I mean, that helps for my own company. But there's just so much software now that makes it so easy
This
to
is
do
true.
your own
For sure.
accounting.
This is true.
So,
Plug it right in.
Yeah.
which also is funny because that would technically be the safe route.
Yeah.
But is it?
I'm-
You know? Is
Very
it?
true.
Who knows?
I mean,
Who
it's still
knows?
needed. I think it's still a job that's very in demand.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a lot of software and apps that
There is.
Make it a lot
There
easier, no
is.
doubt.
to do.
Some
it on your
people
own.
just want hands off. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They just do
Yeah.
my books and, whatever. But yeah, all jokes aside and everything, I mean, but Blind is still going. It's not like it's done. There's people that still ride
Oh,
for
yeah.
them. They're still doing it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it is. But you know what? Listen, I think we all make decisions, right?
Yeah.
And whatever it is, good or bad, at the end of the day, it's like you got to stick with them
Exactly.
and, run with it. You know.
And I think a big thing for me has been that, like I said, leaving Blind was there's no bad or hard
Sure.
feelings or anything. I think you can also probably compare it to someone who maybe works a certain job for a long time and at some point they're like, hey, I kind of maybe want to do something different. I
Yeah.
want a new challenge in life.
Exactly.
And I don't know what it's exactly going to bring, but I'm going to just try.
Right.
And I feel like that was the biggest thing for me.
It's great. It's
so
great.
What are you doing now for boards?
Writing blanks. Still,
Writing blanks.
The past, since I
Mhm.
left. So I actually did, last year I did 2, one-off board drops. It was not intended to become a board company. It was just like, one, I was in the Battle at Bergs finals night.
Yeah.
And what the Bergs normally does is that they buy the boards, like the pro model from every finalist from the sponsors. And I'm like, well,
Sign them.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is like my second or third finals night
Mhm.
with a blank board. Like, let me just do something,
Yeah.
just something. And I talked to a graphic designer. I gave him some ideas. He came back with stuff, and then my wife helped out too. And then we like just came up with a whole different concept. It became very random because there was like a turnaround time of like less than a day.
Oh wow.
Oh,
and yeah, but I was like, you know what, like, because nowadays I'm like, with graphics in general, you just never know. Of course, if it would be an actual brand, I would probably try to put more thought into it, but I was like, hey, maybe it's good to have my little bit of anti-perfectionist side. Like, let's just run it.
Okay.
Let's just see how
Okay,
it does. So,
yeah.
so yeah, I just did one board release, and then yeah, the Bergs bought some of those boards,
Perfect.
and then for my birthday last year, I also released that
Did a
same
little
board,
something.
yeah,
Okay.
the little board run, and then
What board? Who's making your boards?
Is it this one right here?
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like I did have a thing where I was like, if I do ever have a brand name, it's kind of like hidden in there, but I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do
Wait,
boards
it's
'cause
hidden. Let me see. It's called
Was?
Ewa.
Wawa.
Eva.
Wasa.
Eva.
Vas?
Was.
Vasa.
Acai. There's acai right down at the bottom.
Almost, but no.
Okay.
Asa?
No. I'll tell you after. I guess
all right.
it's not that great of a word, but yeah, for my birthday, I also dropped this board just to be like, hey, let's just do something.
Yeah,
Cause,
yeah.
every time I would post, a lot of people would DM me like, hey, when are you gonna get on a board brand? And,
Yeah.
I was just like, well, I have this run of boards,
Mhm.
and people would also hit me up like, hey, are you gonna produce those in different sizes?
Right.
So that's why I did a little birthday board drop with different sizes.
Love that.
And
Yeah.
and then for my last part that was on the barracks last year,
Mhm,
my late
mhm.
part,
Yep.
what's called late, I did another like just one-off board drop, and after that one I was like, yeah, I'm good for now. But
Yeah.
those, it did sell out. A lot of skate shops also bought the late board.
Mm-hmm. There's the late board right
How
here.
many are you producing when you do these?
I mean, in total, probably like a couple hundred. in
Okay.
That's pretty
both.
good.
Like,
Nice,
yeah.
dude.
Wow.
That's super dope.
Well, a couple, like, yeah, between 100 to 100 in total. Because I also did some runs, like, specifically for the barracks. then
Yeah.
specifically for, like, shop. And then, yeah.
Listen, having a board sponsor is still important in these.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I feel like you're kind of the
100%.
same generation. We like it really means something, right? Even though this day and age, you really don't need a board sponsor, right?
Mhm.
It's just it's a different time now, right?
Yeah.
It's a different. You don't like you couldn't go anywhere back when without a board sponsor. You couldn't get on a shoe brand. You couldn't get on a wheel company. You had to have that as the foundation. But now you don't need that. You don't need that foundation. You could go anywhere and still be successful.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that not having one is not important though.
I
It's
do
still
still-
important to us.
After my experience with the board drop, just doing different things, after
Mhm.
also leaving blind, and I do think it is still more important than we might think. That's what I at least see
Yeah.
with some shoe brands, like, and just the writers that write for those brands. Like, okay, all of them do have, even they might not be fully on the brand, or like maybe they're fully on, but they
Mhm.
don't get paid compared to maybe back in the day you would for sure get paid for
Sure.
a board brand. I mean, all those things have changed as
Big
the
time.
years progress.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I do still feel like
You do?
having
Okay.
a board brand is definitely I feel like,
Beneficial,
exactly.
right?
But what's interesting too, and just going to different skate shops and talk to people, is that I do feel like for a lot of kids these days, it's not as important who writes for the brand, maybe compared to the owners of the skate shop. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do see a lot of kids walk in just buying a board brand for the graphic or the brand, not caring whose board it is.
Hmm.
That's what I've seen a lot.
That's a starter kit for a kid, though, right? It's a starter board. Like once you start, your first board could be anything, right? Your graphic and everything.
but
But once you start getting into skateboarding, then you start having your favorite skaters. You start then to back certain
Yeah.
people and certain brands, right?
So brand wise, I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like brand wise, yeah, but I feel like there's also a lot of brands out there now that are
Sell really well.
popping, but maybe people don't even necessarily know who's on the squad, but
Right.
people love buying the board.
And it is about
Yeah.
the skate shop too,
That's
because
true.
the skate shop is the guys,
Yeah,
the
he's
first
pushing
point
it.
of contact that's pushing those certain brands that they're a fan of too.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you want to get on a board brand. That's the bottom line, but we don't know.
I definitely still have like ambitions.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
I don't want to. I mean, there's also a lot of up and coming, talent that like, hey, this is not to talk myself down or anything,
Sure,
but
I get
just
you.
like stepping back, like realistically speaking, I can see why it's more attractive for brands to pick up riders from
Younger.
a certain age
Yeah.
to like just grow together and everything.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But yeah, I definitely have ambitions, and there's definitely brands out there that I was like, oh, if I would be on, I think it would be fun, and it would be, to call it a partnership, I think it could be a good partnership. Because I did notice, especially with doing my one-offs, like, had it been more of a brand behind it,
Mm-hmm.
I think it could have definitely had more impact.
Yeah, for sure.
Because people are maybe hyped. I don't know, just different things. Like people that follow me that DM me, for example, are
Yeah,
hyped that
yeah.
I'm on a board brand, and then
Yeah.
they
Right.
and other people that are just fan of the brand. It's just weird.
It's a combination.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many different sides to it and perspectives. I don't want to say that it's one thing or the other, but
But I think one perspective is like you definitely have a following. You have a following of people that really, You know, I mean, listen, you've been in all the Battle of the Barracks. You've been the most finalist dude. You know, it's like you've come like skate parts. Like you've made your mark. You know, and you have that following of people that would buy your boards. You know,
Yeah.
which is important these days.
Because that's kind of the feeling it gave me when I did one-off drops, where it's like, well, if it did pretty good,
Yeah.
like people buying online as well as skate shops,
Right.
then I'm kind of like, well, what could it be if it's actually on a brand? You know what I mean?
Right. Listen, I would just keep doing you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just love skateboarding, right?
Oh, yeah,
and we're
100%.
gonna skateboard no matter what.
Yep.
And just keep doing you, keep having fun, and like if the door's open and the possibilities there, I mean, it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it sounds to me like I don't even think you're at that point either, where you want to start something yourself, like a
Not,
board.
not with boards.
You're right.
I do have to say I've thought about it,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, in this day and age too, everywhere you look, people are like, oh, start working for yourself, be your own boss.
Sure.
And skateboarding's like, oh, just start your own brand.
It's a Me
It's
Too.
like-
It's a Me Too business in
Yeah,
skateboarding.
it's like, for sure nowadays it's probably easier to get started compared to back in the day, but
It's a lot of work.
it is.
Yeah.
And just doing the artwork and because right now I'm running a grip tape brand,
Yes.
and I just feel like with board graphics, and I feel like
It's a process, man.
it is, and I feel like if I do have the opportunity to write for someone, whether that may come or may not come,
Yeah.
I do think it's still kind of nice to have one aspect of skating where it's like, well, if you do end up on a board brand and you film together, and I don't know, you do demos or signing, like you just show up.
Right.
Because that's the difference. Like when you do your own brand, you have to be in control of everything and coordinate everything.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But when you
Yeah.
write for someone, it's like you just show up when they tell you to, and
And
then
you gotta turn yourself pro.
I guess.
Is there any brands that you are thinking about, or that you would want to reach out to, or like, you know?
I mean, that's always tough, right, with boards, because it's like there's definitely board brands that I'm a fan of, but at the same time, that personal connection
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what
Obviously
matters
it's
the
a big
most.
deal,
But
no doubt.
Right.
I mean, if I would just give a short list of just brands I'm fan of,
Yeah.
just watching what they do, not even talking about getting on or not. It's like there's like, you know, I love what Primitive is doing.
Yeah.
I love what April's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I love what Girl Chocolate keeps doing.
Yeah.
I love what DGK is doing.
Yeah.
Some of the more independent board brands too. Like, there's honestly a lot of board brands right
There's
now.
a lot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
like, yeah. There's
But it's
a lot.
also it needs to mean something to you as well, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're just going to take whatever comes your way. It's like
Well, yeah.
At this point in time, there has to be meaning behind it, right?
Yeah, because when I quit Blind, I did have, and up to recently too, I did have board brands reaching out to me.
Mm.
When I quit Blind, the first 2 weeks, like 5 different board brands
Wow.
reached out.
That's
Okay.
good. That's good.
And
That's
then,
good to know.
yeah, that was definitely kind of like a little.
Reassurance of
It was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so
Feeling.
people are, you know, reaching out.
Sure,
It's kind of nice, I guess, in that sense, to feel
100%.
like
yeah.
For
they
sure.
do want to put me on.
I'm wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
They care.
Yeah,
they care.
Exactly. And then up until recently too, there's
Okay.
been board brands reaching out. But then, yeah, I think over the years I just started looking at the sponsorship aspect, maybe a little different. Where now I'm like, hey, a board brand might not offer a paycheck, but hey, if they do, they just stay busy with the team and they go out film and do dope projects.
Right.
Like that means a lot. Like
sure.
that's-
Almost nowadays, it's like good luck getting a paycheck from a board brand. Like all
yeah.
you're going to do is just pretty much get
Exactly.
royalties.
Yeah.
if that in some cases, even.
Right?
Yeah,
It's crazy now.
Wait, if that in some cases, if you have a board, you better get royalties.
you're right. You probably
If
better
you,
get
if you
royalties,
just skate
but it
for,
might.
if you just skate for him as a pro with no board, that's different.
is that
But-
is that royalty going to be $1 or $2?
Yeah, come on now.
You're totally right. If you have a pro board, you should get royalties.
sure.
But it's just, I don't know how much, how many boards they sell from each pro
Right.
per
Exactly.
month. So
Right.
how sustainable that would be. But for
Of
sure,
course.
the royalty should be there if you have a
Definitely,
pro
yeah.
For
model.
sure.
For sure.
I mean, anything with your name on it essentially
100%.
should be getting something in return. You know.
Yeah.
Totally.
So what are you skating now? Like what board? Like is it like what? Who makes it?
Bareback.
Bareback.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
BBS.
BBS.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Do you have your own shape down there? You just order some boards and they
Yeah.
send them up to you?
yeah,
Sick.
so I have my shape there. And then I adjusted the length of the board. I
Okay.
realized over the years that I like having a longer nose and tail.
Oh.
And I personally believe that, and this is not to bash on anyone, but I personally believe that a lot of board brands make their nose and tail slightly too short. I feel like that's a whole technical aspect that we can get into some other time.
We
But
need Professor Schmidt here to talk about this.
oh, for
Man.
sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I'm
Man.
sure. I'm sure if I would talk
The
about
long short of it, though, why do you think that it's too short? What's like what technically, if you're skating a shorter board, like between versus a longer board, what?
so I think just for how I personally feel on the board when it's
But you're also a
shorter-
taller dude too.
exactly. But I'm just also talking specifically about
Okay.
the nose and tail.
Mm-hmm.
I notice when I do have a longer nose and tail, the pop response is a lot quicker. When I flick or ollie, I feel like the board actually follows through with the motion. So if I
Okay.
have a shorter nose, it's like I'll flick, it'll still come through, but it feels like it kind of stays behind. So my pop is actually a bit less.
How tall are you?
6'1".
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
1
Try
meter,
to
86.
longer nose and tail
Yeah.
and see if that works.
I mean,
I'm gonna try that out.
could work.
I feel
Because
like,
the longer the tail, the quicker it is to hit the ground, right?
but
Yes.
also,
Yeah.
it's also going to depend on the shape. Because if you have a, I don't know, like a 90-degree
Steepness.
long
Yeah,
tail,
right.
like,
Steepness.
but you're right. In
Yeah, it's just I used to skate my boards backwards. My for the first 15 years of my skating, I literally skated the nose as the tail, no
He
matter
just
what.
didn't realize it was backwards.
No, I would pop
He
every
did.
trick off the nose.
I remember seeing
Fakie,
something
nollie,
like
regular, switch. I would have the nose be whatever it was. I was popping on that side. It was really weird. But
that.
I thought of
how was
that.
it switching back though? Like now you skate your
It was
tail as
really-
your tail.
I do it in like the normal way now. I just like one day I was skating. I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and I was like, what the hell's wrong with me? I don't know what was I doing that for so long. But why I did that is because I thought that it was easier to hit the tail or hit the nose. You know what I mean? Because it was longer.
Yeah.
So I was
exactly.
like, that's why I did that for so long, because I thought I would get a better or quicker response, and that's why I did that for so long.
Crazy.
But not knowing in my head that I was insane.
Yeah.
So
We all knew. We all knew it, Kelly. We all knew.
But yeah, because
So interesting. So you think that it okay?
Because I do notice that a lot of board brands, when they make the boards longer, they just make the wheelbase longer.
Yeah.
And I do have a slightly longer wheelbase compared to
Okay.
like the standard. I think standard would be considered like 14 inch.
Mm.
So I have a longer nose and tail and a slightly longer wheelbase.
Okay.
So when I made my wheelbase even longer, I just felt like I couldn't really carry my board with me when I would flick. It's like it
Interesting.
flicks,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel like you're in control of the board.
So
and when it's a
funny.
bit shorter, the wheelbase, it feels like you can really carry your board with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
But yeah, so
Okay.
that's like one of the specifics of my own shape where
Got
I'm
you.
like, hey, I think the nose and tail should be a little longer. But the ones I sold though,
Yeah.
those nose and tail weren't as long as my own. As like the boards I
Okay.
skate.
Right.
Still longer than what's considered
An
standard,
average.
probably. Yeah.
Hmm. Some of those people that are ordering your boards, though, I mean, they're special boards. They're probably not skating them at that point. You know, they're probably just
No,
wall
hanging
hangers
those,
or
yeah, for
something.
sure.
You know what I mean? Listen, we had mentioned Battle of the Barracks. We have to talk about Battle of the Barracks because
Most
the main.
finals
Listen,
dude.
you're the most final dude. Okay, you've been in the finals a lot, dude. We've won one, right?
Yeah.
The one that you won the which one? 8, 2015. The one that and congrats on that, by the
Thank
way,
you.
because like
Yeah.
to win a Battle of the Barracks, I think it's very. I mean, there's a lot of eyeballs on that. Everybody loves the games of skate, and to win that is very. You know, there can only be one winner, so God have mercy on your soul.
that's a long process, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
That
It
is
really
such a long process.
It's a long process. But the one that I'm really, 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 really interested in, and I really want to get your take on it, is the Chris Joslin finals one, because you did a frontside double flip,
Yeah.
and you dragged you dragged your toe.
Yeah.
It didn't get called. You called it on yourself that you wanted to redo on yourself.
Yeah. I'm not
Which-
doing that anymore after that game.
Oh, you're not doing that anymore? Okay.
After that, it's like, okay, now it's up to you guys. But, yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I want to give you the utmost respect and admiration for that, because like that just shows that you're just that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
pretty dope.
you called yourself out in this monumental game of skate, the games of skate that you grew up trying to get here.
Yeah.
You know. And I just think that was amazing, bro. I think
sure.
that just you calling it out, and then you addressed the crowd. You said, "Hey, listen, this is why I wanted to play it right and everything." I think that's admirable.
Did you end up winning, or did you
I end up getting second. So
Okay.
Chris Joslin won. And,
So you-
and
in that game? That's what happened.
you just
Yeah.
shot yourself in the foot,
Oh, wow.
basically.
Yeah, you-
But in a
some
respectable
people,
way.
Some
Yeah,
people take
for
it like
sure.
that. I just remember it all happened so quick. It's just I did that frontside double flip,
Mhm.
and I tapped, but I noticed that I don't remember who was reffing, but I noticed.
Let me see
We're
how
gonna-
this worked
we're gonna-
out.
we're gonna
I
check
noticed
it.
they
Coming up
didn't
in a
really
second.
see it or notice it, but I
It's
felt
coming.
it for sure.
Coming up in a
And
second.
Dude, how skating in that one must be crazy because skating in just about the barracks in any game is so nerve wracking.
yeah,
What is that like skating in there? It's hot as hell.
yeah.
There's
that's the
so
hardest-
many people.
Yeah,
I'm nervous. I'm sitting there announcing with Mike Mo, and it's
Yeah.
nerve wracking. Oh, I had paused it, Rush.
Yeah, I think after a few tricks, you kind of like shake off the nerves, but it's like
God damn.
every game feels a bit different though. I did
What
notice
about-
that?
What's your process on a game of skate, man? Do you go? You kind of look like you kind of go straight for the throat.
So yeah,
There
that's
it is.
yeah. So
What?
that's a drag.
Oh, let's see this.
So it happened so quick. So I don't know if you can pause it
Yeah,
or
we're gonna pause it.
because now it's edited a bit different
Right.
than what actually happened. So I frontside double flipped, had this like toe drag. A lot of people said, "Oh, you didn't drag at all," but you can see it.
Let's
if you-
see. Yeah, back
it-
foot, toe dragged,
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
But it wasn't,
wasn't
a toe.
that bad.
It wasn't a toe
So-
drag that's going to be called out, though.
Yeah.
Okay, but I thought it should have been.
Yeah.
And it just kind of happened so quick where I expected, but also saw right away as I'm looking up that whoever was revving didn't really notice as much or
Right.
wasn't seeing it. So
Who was reffing, by the way?
Mike Mo.
oh yeah, he was. I think.
Was he?
He
Yeah, you can
allowed
see him
it.
in the background.
He
But
allowed
it
it.
happened
Wait,
so-
and who was? Okay. Okay.
And Chris
sorry.
Justin already tried one. He tried the frontside double flip.
He did.
He didn't land. I was like, and that's when I went tried the second one and missed it. Because I kind of felt like
There's a toe drag right there.
yeah, exactly,
blatant toe
exactly.
drag.
But in fast motion, you can't see that.
Yeah.
We're watching it in slow motion right now, and
Yeah.
nobody's seen it. So
But I felt it, and
it's like you saw a cop right there, and you pulled yourself over.
Ah, it's the best analogy I've ever heard.
He said, "Oh God damn it! I went through that stop sign. Let me pull it." Shit. Hey,
You're
cop
like,
didn't
hey,
even move.
bruh.
He drove right by.
He didn't notice.
He drove
I was
right by
speeding.
me.
Come on over here. Or call 911 on yourself, like or
Yeah, I
911.
went through a stop sign, man. Can you believe that? The cop drove right past me.
but-
didn't even-
I heard
But-
people's analogy of like, hey, in a soccer match, people are not going to call themselves out, but this one's next level.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
man.
But did you get a lot of like respect out of that? Did you? Were people like?
a lot of people rode and everything, but I think the biggest thing for me was that it was a toe drag.
Right.
I noticed because you have this adrenaline going and you're like kind of hyped that hey, this could be the winning trick. But
Because
also,
sorry to interrupt.
Because
Yeah.
it was the winning trick, right?
Well, sorry to interrupt,
It
though,
would've
but
been.
even Chris Joslin right here was about to go, and he
Yeah.
looks up and he was like, "Wait, what?"
well,
Like,
here, so he did.
face
He
right
did.
there.
Yeah.
He missed it.
oh,
And
he
I was like,
did.
oh, if
That's
he missed,
right.
I was like, if he missed again, I'm gonna win. All good, but I was like, there's gonna be so much shit, and I don't want to. It's like fair is fair.
On the last trick, you want it to be like,
Ah,
yeah,
Yeah,
you
and,
can't.
and I felt like
Mike Mo just looks confused.
Yeah.
He doesn't even look.
I
You
think
gotta-
everyone, including myself, was a bit. It's like it just all happened so quick.
yeah,
And
right.
Chris Justin, he won fair and square. Like he made a comeback with. I mean, he's so good at.
yeah.
He's just so
Mhm.
good.
Wait. Hold on. I want to hear what you say.
I don't want to hear myself talk, but
Oh,
why
can't we hear it?
Gentlemen,
Oh, there it goes.
want to thank him. No bullshit.
that became a thing.
Hold on. There it is.
Here's why we redid that. As much as I wanted it to count, I did have a little toe track, so let's be fair, let's be gentlemen. Want to thank him. No bullshit.
I didn't even hear what I'm
I mean,
saying.
I thought
No
that
doubt.
that was amazing.
That
Though I was
definitely
sitting
is.
right there because me and Mike Mo host the thing,
Yeah.
and I was sitting there like, that was the stupidest move in the world, but I respect it, and that was admirable. You know what I
you
mean?
made that-
Yeah, I'm definitely not pulling myself over anymore. But yeah. No, but
But you know, like no, like you're,
I just
like,
felt like if you win, let's win for
you're
real.
a stand-up dude.
feel
Though.
you
That's
there.
the thing.
My biggest thing was if I win, let's win for real.
Let's-
And if I
fair and
if I
square.
lose, then I lose for real.
Fair
There's,
and square.
there's been some games too, and every game is going to be different.
Mhm.
Everyone, you have different refs at each bed of the barracks,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
certain angles you don't see certain toe drags from. But I feel like I've had some games where someone might have refed in my favor, and that kind of didn't feel right either. And it wasn't that they were refing in my favor; it just
Right.
happened to be
Right.
from probably the angle they were at. So
Totally.
I feel like everything together was like, hey, if I win, it has to be a real win, and if not, then it's.
I just think
and second
you-
place got a lot of money too, so it's like.
And that's the thing too. I think you really have to be. Listen, it's not your job to judge. That's the job.
Yeah.
That's the
That's
judge's
yes,
job.
That's Kelly's job.
And so you have to be okay with, oh, I fucked up there, but they didn't call it. You know what I mean? Like,
that was on them.
that's on them. Like you have
Yes.
to be okay with, because even though it doesn't feel right, you
Yeah.
just have to be.
It is.
You
but
got to
at
be
the same
okay.
time,
You got to be okay with
I
it.
do feel like that's what makes skateboarding different though, compared to a soccer or a basketball.
I hear you on that.
You
I
know,
hear
so
you on
I
that.
do feel like, yeah, skateboarding is just different in that.
Because at the end of
sense.
the day, we don't have refs. in
Yeah,
skateboarding.
exactly, and it's
you know?
all on your own.
Yeah.
Like playing game of skates back in then, that's how we used to play.
For sure.
Okay, if you toe drag, it's you basically call it on yourself,
Right.
and you just say, "Hey, that was a toe drag."
So,
Exactly.
Mike Mo, good judge too.
Oh, he is.
Dude, you know what's funny? That dumb data dude. You guys see him on YouTube and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
He hit me up on Instagram and said I was like one of the most. I think it was like top. It was like second or third. Like I will appear in second or third of All About the Barracks. Like as reffing or reading the rules or being in it. Like I was pretty impressed by that. Not impressed, but like I don't know. Anyways, I'm just saying that.
Tooting
Like,
your own horn over there.
So you hung out the barracks
guess.
way too much.
I get no. I was at the barracks a lot, but I will say that that's a big. The judging is
Oh, yeah.
big, dude. People get shit if they don't do a good job. They'll get shit.
Well, that's one thing that I do think that the
Fine.
Battle of the Barracks is missing, is a legitimate, because like it's all of us peers that are judging it, even in the finals. I mean, you got Mike Mo judging it. You know, there isn't a set standard referee that's going to be
Yeah.
that takes accountable. If they asked me to ref a finals, I would say hell no. I don't
Okay.
want that responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, if you, I don't know, don't do a good job, so to speak, you miss a toe drag.
I'd
they
be like,
give you
nope.
shit if you caught the toe drag, but they didn't want you to catch it from a specific skater. You still
Right.
got shit
Yeah.
because you have
Right.
that a lot too. Certain
True.
favoritism, you
But
know.
in a
So
in a
true.
in a finals match when there's so much money on the line and this and that,
Yeah.
it's just they don't have anybody that's like legitimate.
No,
I don't know
what do
who a
you mean?
legitimate ref would be.
Me and Mike Mo. And like,
But in a game of skate, though, it's like this is what I'm talking about with the toe drags and everything. Like you have to be so on
No,
point.
yeah,
Yeah,
with
but
thing
see,
things
is,
so quick.
nobody's perfect, dude. Someone's gonna fuck up.
No.
Regardless of that, you
Right.
know what I mean. So
Right.
The deal
you
is-
gotta if you choose one of those judges, you run with them.
the deal is, no.
what it is.
Listen. All you gotta do is they gotta make it more apparent to use like a screen to review tricks more often, because you can like for real, dude. Like that's really it.
But they do that though in the normal bat. They have the camera and they'll
Yeah.
review something.
Yeah, but they started doing that.
They started
is-
doing
you
it.
get
Right,
one. You get one freaking red
And if-
red
and if-
flag thing.
And
is
if you
this,
use
football?
it and you're wrong, you lose it, and that's lame. I think you should if it's a wrong play and they call a foul,
Right.
Like you should be able to keep your shit now,
Yeah, but it happens all the time.
That's like
though.
baseball, right?
but not just one. You only get one and you keep it. You know what I mean?
if you're right.
If
yeah,
you're right.
It's
Yeah.
football
Yes.
rules.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
and-
and
football.
baseball.
But basketball doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You don't get to keep your
Challenge.
challenge.
There are dudes that are good judges for sure, but there's not like a. I mean, what are you gonna do for that? You're not gonna be able to like.
They're playing skate, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're playing skate. You know what?
It's not
whether
that
if
technical.
It's, yeah,
It's really not.
No, I think they need a
classes.
They need somebody
like a
up.
whole.
Yeah, they need a
school.
whole. They need a ref school, man. They need man. I'm trying to think of the oldest ref in basketball, Bill or God, I'm spacing on his name right
What's
now.
interesting though is that the S game of skate used to be a lot more strict. I remember back in
Oh,
the
yeah.
day when you didn't get 2 tries on your last.
That's right.
Because that's what Battle of the Barracks made it. Well,
2
Barracks
tries.
made a thing, right?
Yeah.
2 tries on your
No,
last
it was
letter.
always like that.
Has it
though.
always been like that?
I mean,
No, dude.
Not
back
with
in the
Game of
day,
Skate.
In the
yeah.
first barracks, it was.
It was-
oh, I'm just saying.
Not first barracks, but in the first game of S.
Well, when we played skate as kids, yeah, like there was no 2 tries.
Yeah, and
I don't think.
even
Yeah, there was nothing like that.
I thought it was.
And then
no
when
do-overs like that.
Yeah.
If you had a toe drag on defense,
it's the other person's turn.
it's on defense. It's like you get a
Let's
letter.
get a whole rewrite of
you
the,
get,
bar-
a,
of the
you
Yeah.
get a
rules.
letter.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that's actually, I feel like those S game of skates made a bit. They were a lot more strict at
Right.
the time.
yeah, it was weird. It was kind of like a weird ending. I remember Costin. Remember he lost to like 2 times in a row in the finals, and he lost on nollie frontside flip.
Right.
And it was just like that last trick, and that was it. You're like, there's no hype up or no build to it, right? It's just done.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's kind of not as fun to watch.
Totally.
You know?
The second trick, like giving you a second try, it definitely makes the game.
Yeah, that actually makes it more
Right. Right.
fun to watch.
But Kelly, going back to your point about like me going straight for the
Oh
throw,
yeah.
I do want to explain that one a little bit because
What was it? What was it? The going for the throw, the first trick.
Like, how do you start? How do you go about a game? Like,
Yeah.
'cause it seems like you
Yeah.
come out swinging right away.
I started doing that at some point.
Yeah.
And because back in the day during the S game skates, I would just skate and start doing shove it's, kick flips,
Yeah.
180 flips, nollie flips.
You're
like,
playing a gentleman's game, basically.
basically, yeah.
We're getting
And,
warmed up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like, someone gets a letter with one of those tricks, and then at the time I would maybe end it with, I did often end it with like a hard flip revert, but in some case would be like a fakey hard flip, and well, like you said, like a nollie 180 flip, or
Yeah.
Mhm.
that could be like the end of certain games. Once I started skating better at the barracks, I don't know what happened, but I just started getting so much more nervous that I remember playing a game of skate with Manny Santiago. I won the Rochambeau, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just start with a shove it, ease my way in,
Uh-huh.
and I just missed that shove it,
Mm.
and the nerves just hit me extra hard, and it was like,
okay.
and I started noticing at many games, I started noticing that when I get nervous and when it's my turn, just either way I want to get it over with. But during a lot of games, I want to get it over with, but of course I still want to win. So it's like, instead of trying all these different tricks, because I'm like, well, if I miss, I'm just as likely to miss a 540 flip as I am to miss a nollie heel. But a nollie heel is not going to give someone a letter, but a 540 flip will. So it became a thing where it's like, I'm just trying to get this over with.
You'd be
but I do
okay.
want to win.
You'd be okay with.
But if I lose, that's fine too. But it was
Yeah.
just once it's my turn,
Go
that,
for it.
That became a thing where I was like, the nerves would just run up so much, and sometimes during certain games too, over the years, would be like, well, once we do get to a certain point, I'm gonna start throwing in more of the harder tricks, and that's
I
basically
think
what it
weren't we
became.
talking to P Rod, and he kind of had the same feeling about it. Was like, hey, dude, if you got it, you got it. Like, just start off and go for
Yeah.
the throat.
Fucking start off gnarly. Fuck it, dude. Why not?
I mean, dude, you're
yeah.
trying to win. There's
Yeah.
what's the
Do whatever.
But I
yeah.
do understand from a spectator's perspective, so to speak, is that
Yeah.
it's definitely more exciting when you see some classy tricks in between. Like
Yeah.
when you see Luan do a kickflip,
Right.
it's just so fun watching him do this
Yeah.
I think-
fast,
Yeah.
highest kickflip
I want-
before he does his a tray double.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand that aspect too. But
Right.
I personally think that every game of skate just really depends on the two that are in it. Sometimes you have a battle with like the hardest tricks, and maybe people will even call them the dirtiest tricks, but it turns out to be an exciting game because both people are landing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can have a really boring game with just the basic tricks because no one's landing anything and just drags on for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just so many. It really depends on the two that are skating.
You do a lot of incredible, gnarly tricks, right? You just mentioned dirtiest tricks. What do you think are the dirtiest tricks in Game of Skate?
I don't consider any trick dirty.
Pressure flip?
Personally.
Pressure flip's a big. Everybody says pressure flip's the dirtiest.
That's the kryptonite for you and me too.
It
I'm
has
just
been, yeah. As a kid, I used to be pretty good at just regular pressure flips. But at the same time,
is it
it's-
dirty?
I don't think so. It pops and flips. It's definitely not my favorite trick to
There you
try,
Okay.
to
Okay.
maybe to see, but I don't think it's dirty. It pops, it flips.
Yeah.
It's
So you don't think that there's a dirty trick in the Game of Skate?
backside 180 late flip.
no, it's not dirty.
What
I
about
would prefer people to not do it when I'm at teeth.
Yeah.
But I think it's far from dirty. I actually like seeing, just harder
Insane
type of
tricks,
tricks.
yeah.
Totally.
what about frontside 360 kickflip? Like there are these tricks that you do that I'm like, oh, he has to set that up for the last trick.
Yeah, but front 360 kickflip, I think is actually more like from the people I've seen doing it and that I got inspired by. I think that's one of the classiest, really hard tricks. Like the ones I
Yeah.
saw do it. Do you guys remember William Fan?
William Fan.
Oh hell yeah!
I was
He does it
gonna
really
say
good.
his name.
Does it really
Exactly.
good.
Yeah.
So
Front
him
side,
and
yeah.
Greg Lutzka really inspired
okay.
me with that trick. And
I
I
feel
feel
like
like
people can make that trick look good, man. I'm just being honest. Like I think
Yeah.
that's a hard trick to make look good.
And
Yeah.
William Fan had him good. Yeah, he had frontside and backside really
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What about the what was the trick? Oh, you do hard flip front 180.
yeah,
That's a pretty dirty one, dude. That's fairly dirty.
I can see that. I just
Like what's like I couldn't imagine the success rate on the opponent landing it too often.
It's hard for
It
big.
is like
Yeah,
Hard
base.
flip.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
front side hard, like big
Yeah.
spin, but a hard flip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it has definitely increased over the years. More
yeah?
more people have been landing it, but yeah, I don't know. I think it depends how it's done. Because I got inspired by Ryan Galan doing that trick.
Oh,
I think it was in his transworld part, but he did it
on the hip.
exactly, and
Yeah.
he did it all the way in the air. So that definitely makes the trick very different versus hard flip land on the nose and do a quick
Sliding.
revert.
That was going to be my question, right? It's when you're, I mean, we all know the Barracks ground too. It's, slick. So you can get
Yeah.
away with landing
Very
and,
forgiving.
and reverting around, To me, that would almost be considered dirty, right? Is like if you do a hard flip revert, but you land 90 and then pivot the rest of the way, you're like,
To me, it
Is
depends
that
how
really-
fluent it's done. That's what it
Yeah,
depends.
it's-
okay,
to me
yeah,
personally.
okay,
So if you do
okay,
it fluent, but
okay.
if you like kind of stand still and kind of like half
If you do
nose
it with the
Ah,
same with the
yeah,
same
yeah.
motion and you still got
Yeah.
the same speed.
because there's one clip where
I could see that.
I do a
okay.
hard flip from revert
Yeah.
against Moses Adams, the homie from South Africa,
Okay.
and he actually did it too. But if you watch the clip, the way he did it, he did revert a bit, but the spin was like there was a lot more spin in there, and I think the way he did it,
Yeah.
I don't think he really
Okay.
had
Yeah.
that trick, but
Ah,
the way
it's
he did it
interesting.
was
I like
just
that.
looked really
Sick.
good.
Well, it's funny the amount of differences of opinions people have with the
Yeah.
game of skate.
Dude, you
Yes.
know what's
It's crazy.
You know what the worst is when someone does a back 360 or a front 360 and they do a 180 and land on the tail and then turn around
Yeah.
like full pivot.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right?
That's
like
annoying.
It's cheap.
Yeah,
It's cheap. Let's be honest.
so
It's
then you
cheap.
do it the same way he did it.
Yeah, like do the whole way, dude. Don't
But
be
there's also people who do a back 180. They do revert it on the ground, but they do it so fluent that it almost
Oh,
look like it's
yeah.
a full spin. So,
For sure.
but I'm definitely the person who does in defense
Here's
back
the
180.
hard flip for
Yeah.
180.
So that's how I do it.
Yeah,
Right.
that was great.
But I like how he does it. Oh, he did
Oh,
revert, but
But he's also in defense too.
yeah,
So that's more
it's
acceptable.
also I just really like his style a lot.
Whoa.
So
Yeah,
I
he's
just feel like
sick.
he's very smooth, So
Dude, you got him on a 540 shove it, dude.
Gosh.
no.
540 flip.
No,
wasn't
okay.
Or-
The trick I did here, I do consider that dirty. Varial double flip.
Varial double
Yeah.
flip.
you consider a varial.
It's not a good looking trick at all. Varial double
it? Dude, he
flip.
did that shit.
No,
Oh,
the
yeah.
one before. There was
the
one
one before
before.
that, okay.
There was a
Wait,
540
let's
shove it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
This one?
right there, yeah.
No, the varial.
No, watch.
Wait, which one are you talking about, Seva?
At the very end.
Oh, at the very end.
Yeah.
The
The trick
540
I-
shove it. I was like,
I just
dude.
didn't know what to do at all anymore because I normally have hard flip from 180 kind of in my back pocket
Yeah.
in a sense,
Right.
even though everyone knows that. Hey, that's what I'm getting to once it gets
Yeah, here it comes.
It's coming
You know
sooner or
it's coming.
later.
And it's also the most nerve-wracking
He
trick
did
to
the
do.
540
Right.
flip. So
Yeah.
crazy.
Nollie double heel. That's a dirty one.
Damn.
But I like how he made it look though.
man, it does.
Yeah.
Nollie late flip. Listen, all of these are dirty.
Oh, that's dirty. Oh, yeah, you almost did that. Anything double like that?
Damn.
Oh,
You stomped that
That was
one.
a close one here, man.
Triple. That's dirty as hell.
There's
a very
there
double.
it is.
Yeah.
That's such a random one. I don't think I've ever seen anyone really do that.
I didn't know what to do anymore. This game. Yeah.
Dude had it.
He was
too.
landing everything.
Bro,
Yeah.
you did it so good. Oh
Yeah,
my
you
god!
definitely
But you're
did.
right. It's not a good looking trick.
Yeah, it's not at all. So I would
I'm
definitely,
not
I would definitely not do it in a street part.
The
or
thing
hacking.
is I'm not a big double flip fan. I'm not. I just
So I actually have to give this one up to Kelly again. Back in the, I remember when YouTube was somewhat new, and then you did actually inspire me to relearn double flips because when you did double flips, I remember seeing it on some like you did on a bank or fakey double flips.
Oh,
they
yeah.
actually boned out.
Oh, yeah,
That-
okay.
That made a big difference to me wanting to relearn double flips.
damn it, Kelly.
That's great. Hey, thank you for watching my skating. It's crazy. Probably the only one that ever did that. But
Yeah, me and Dubs have no idea what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I really did.
I remember, I remember doing that trick. It was at this Sneath ditch up in San Francisco, and my friends were like, "Dude, Claraval and Tyrone, they're like, why are you?" I kept going back to try this double flip. They're like, "Why, dude?" I'm like, "Dude, there's this way I want to do it. I have it in my brain." And I finally did it, and they're like, "Oh, I get it now." I was like, "That was the way I wanted to do it."
Because you actually boned it out like an actual kick flip
Yeah.
versus a
Like,
double flip that
kinda
rockets all
rockets,
weird.
What
yeah.
was this in?
It was in actually it was in the shuffle video. It's like a video from San Diego. Walker Ryan did and a couple homies, but
Nice.
yeah, it was just random.
At the end of the day, somebody can make any trick look great, right?
To an extent, for sure. Yeah, there's definitely certain tricks that I feel like.
Varial flips weren't even a thing, and I mean they looked. And then Brian Anderson comes along and they're beautiful.
He did,
Damn
and
true.
They're
Damn
beautiful.
Steve Nesser audio video.
There you go.
That's her too.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
In
So
Barca, over the fence varial flip.
Oh,
That
wow.
was actually also one varial flip. Was like, oh,
yeah.
it actually. I would like to learn them.
See?
Or try them like
Yeah.
that.
And that's kind of me with like the double flips, right?
Yeah.
Like I just don't like to me, it's just not a good looking trick to me, you know. But some people can make them look really,
No, but
really,
you're totally
really
right.
dope.
Because I feel like a tray flip will 9 out of 10 times look good.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
But a varial flip, 1 out of 100 times
Mm.
maybe.
No,
Totally.
varial flips could.
Maybe 1 out of 99.
Yeah. You know what? The one I don't. I still. I'm just. I don't see the aesthetic of it being good. Is the dolphin flip?
Oh, that's a left field trick, bro.
But dude, people do it. I'm like, yo, I don't see why I would want to learn that trick. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just.
Well, somebody like Darrell Stanton comes along and like normalizes that trick, and you just kind of
Yeah.
now you associate it with him, right?
Yeah,
and
you're-
then like that's cool. But then other people.
So actually,
Why
like,
even try that?
I actually
Yeah.
like how Chris Chen does it a lot.
Yeah.
How he does it.
Okay, yeah.
I do think his style in general is just very fluent.
Well, he's a
Uh,
talent. He's a talent.
He's
too.
very
Exactly.
good, no doubt.
Yeah.
So the first clip I actually saw of his was throwing it back again to when we were just talking on Facebook. I asked him, "Hey, do you have any of your footage?" And he sent me like a forward flip, back revert, back 180.
Oh yeah.
But the way he flipped it and just his style is like, oh, he actually makes that look good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I saw people do forward flips before, and I was like, yeah, I can see why people don't care for it as
Don't
much.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think it's all personal preference at the end of the day, right?
It
It's
totally
just,
is. And I'm
it
not
is
even
what it
dissing the
is.
trick. I'm not even.
Oh yeah, no,
it's
I
just
totally
more
get
of
it.
like I don't.
No, there's definitely tricks that just don't look as appealing.
I don't
most
like
of the
that trick.
time.
I don't care for it. I don't care
Right,
for it.
right.
But that like, again, it's personal preference. You can't like everything.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I mean, for my skating, I've only just I wanted to learn tricks that I thought would look cool and feel cool, right? Like you're gonna have to have both aspects, in my opinion.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Why I would do any? Why would I try a trick that I don't think looks good?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like if I saw someone else do it, I don't know. It's,
I mean, look, dude, I have fun and do dumbass Benihanas. I don't think it's the best looking trick. I think it's fun because
Oh, yeah.
I can fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I tried it and I was like, wait, I can do this.
Right.
It's not the best trick. I know it's not. It's not fucking
Like
cute
you're
at
not
all.
putting it in your video part. Maybe a
No.
tour video for sure.
You could throw it in a tour video. I don't care.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's just doing it to do it, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why I'm not putting that in my video part.
Yeah.
But I can do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I feel like it has
Yeah.
a place. There's always like a place and time for certain tricks.
yeah,
too.
especially just to have fun. Like, we're
Yeah.
having fun on this.
there's one reason really to learn those type of tricks is for games to skate. It's like, you know what I mean? Because I learned like that roly poly flip where you put like your foot in the back corner and you just pressure it, don't even pop it, and like does like a varial flip
Oh, yeah.
on the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah.
I learned that the day before I played Corey Kennedy. I'm like, dude, Corey's gonna destroy me in this game.
Yeah.
I did like 13 tricks in a row. He landed every single one. I did that, and I got him on a letter. And I was like, I would never do that trick ever anywhere.
Was that the only?
And then I messed up on the backside 181, and then I messed up. And I was like, oh, that's it. 5 straight tricks done. Just destroyed me. But like that's the
that's
only.
an illegal trick.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
That's an
happened.
illegal trick.
But as soon as I did that, I'm like, oh, he's gonna get me now because I did that. Because I did that dirty trick, dude.
I've seen Corey Kennedy come out the gate strong on some games of skate too.
Yeah.
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 But I don't know, man. Listen, I mean, games of skate, dude. You're most final dude. Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. You have to be the stats of you being in the finals the most.
Yeah,
Out of
there
any
has
other
to be.
person.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe that would that consider you've played the most games in the Balderbergs?
It seems like that would
Well,
be the
wouldn't
case.
that make sense if you're?
But then I only got in from Battlebacks 4, and I wasn't in Battlebacks 5, so I don't know how it is with people who are maybe.
well, maybe like
But you're right.
Luan maybe had been there a bunch of times. Shane.
But then, maybe people who
Right.
were in the first Battlebacks and the second one.
How
so
many finals have you been in? 4?
I think so, 4. 5.
Okay. So
Let me
maybe
see.
there might be more, but
Yeah, I'm thinking about it now because like Luan's kind of a consistent one in
Here we
the
go.
Yeah,
finals.
4.
2014, Battle of the Barracks 7 finals, you lost to Cody Cepeda.
Yeah.
2015, finally you won that one, Battle of the
Yeah.
Barracks 8. Battle of the Barracks 10 was Chris Joslin,
Yeah.
the good guy. the good sport.
Yeah.
2018 Battle of the Barracks 11 finals. You lost to Luan.
Yeah.
Right.
And then last year, there was a Battle of the Barracks 12.
Yeah.
Lost against Tyler Peterson.
In the finals,
Yeah, like.
Oh, it was
what's
the-
it?
semifinals.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or finals.
semifinals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I judged that game actually. But
How
no,
was it?
that
How-
dude's good, dude.
Oh
Tyler?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whoa, I was tripping how good he was.
Oh, he is. Yeah, I mean, him and I played a lot of games for fun, and I lost every game against him.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Also during Battle of the Barracks, he learned every trick, and he was just doing everything so proper, you know.
Well,
But
that's the
he's
thi-
got every single thing though.
He can do
Here's
the
the-
double forward flip 180s, like chilling every
He
time.
can do that, but
Yeah.
he can
Wait,
also
what?
just do like all the 180 flips.
The forward flips we're talking about, dolphin flips, he could do that back 180 like Chris
wow.
Chan would do. He would do it every single try. I'm like, if you're going to do that trick, perfect place to do it right here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I definitely think that the last Battle of the Barracks, the finals, was like a kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the next generation, next level game of skate. Because it was like, don't you feel like back in the day you had like the people who do kind of the classy tricks, they know they're well popped and it's going to be proper, but if someone's against them who has harder tricks, they're just going to lose. And then you had kind of the tech guys who know all the funky tricks but will miss every
Yeah.
basic trick. But now I feel
Right.
like with last year's final was like the guys have every single trick.
The
They
Jamie
will- they
Griffin.
will-
They're prepared.
Yeah, Jamie Griffin and Tyler, like
Right.
both of them have all the heel flips and kick flips, but they'll also do all the hard tricks and repeat them, like land each other's hard tricks. So.
Mhm.
yeah.
Is it more intimidating going up against somebody like that or somebody like a Luan who just pops the shit out of every trick and stomps it down and just makes a fucking statement when he does a kick flip? Are you like, holy
Crazy,
shit?
crazy thing is, I've been the least nervous playing Luan.
Okay.
And I know my take on it has been that, and this again, it's not to bash anyone, but you probably hear the behind the scenes sometimes with Battle at the Barracks where, like, you know, it's skateboarding, so everyone wants to be like, oh, it's friendly, it's just a friendly game of skate, but low key,
it's
sometimes
not-
they're
it's
super
not-
bummed
yeah.
or even a lot more competitive than
100%.
they wanna show off.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have even talked shit that I've heard about whoever they're playing, and
Yeah,
it's like, okay.
okay.
But then when they're on camera, it's like, oh yeah, we're just
Yeah.
friends, it's a game of
Yeah,
skate.
yeah.
With Luan, he's a win or lose, he's just a great individual overall.
Totally.
So
definitely.
like he's said that he is competitive,
Mm-hmm.
but then also if he loses, he gives you respect. And I think the feeling I got from playing him was just like he's such a nice guy that like I just feel
Comfortable.
pretty relaxed playing him,
Okay.
and I just
That's
want to have a fun game and
Yeah.
a good game, and we'll just see who wins.
Because it is funny, man, when you see him in person skating. You know, I've been to like Battle of the Barracks stuff
Yeah.
and seen him, you know, just normal games of skate. And you're like, I don't know, it's just weird because he's like very fast.
Oh yeah,
Everybody's dropping their board down and taking a push. He's dropping in from the quarter pipe and
Yeah.
taking pushes and doing a fucking 360 flip. Like it is a little, like when I watch him live, I'm like, dude, this is a little intimidating. Like he's a powerful skater.
yeah.
You
He
know,
will
he
do
really
tricks when someone does a defensive trick. He'll be
Oh, here
about
too.
to be doing an offense, like on
Yeah.
offense. He'll be
Oh,
like
yeah.
popping it right when
He'll
you
take
land.
2 more pushes
Yeah.
just because it's defense. It's crazy, man.
And he'll land everything. Like if you give him one, the more try, he'll
Yeah.
probably land
Yeah.
tricks. the
But you're
second
right.
try.
He's a really humble dude.
Exactly.
Really, really
So I
amazing
think-
guy.
Oh,
I think just having that vibe around when you play game of skate, it just eases everything. And it just,
Yeah.
at least for me.
Huh.
But I can definitely see how intimidating it is because he does
sure.
go extra fast, pops everything
It's
super
crazy.
high.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it to death. But this one, you lost or you won?
Yeah, I lost this
You
one.
lost this one, right?
So this time around, it's like I got him to tee, and then he made it.
oh, you came back,
Yeah.
dude.
wow. Luan.
Because yeah, on the board there, it's like S.
He's a special skateboarder, man.
Dude, it is so crazy in there, man. Finals night. It's just, dude.
Ooh,
that's
that's
the
pretty
way-
dirty.
Yeah.
Willie Santos.
Get him.
Oh,
But that too. So he said like, oh, that's a dirty trick, but I like how Luan does them though.
Right.
yeah,
So-
no, it's just
so
like a
it's-
trick that's
yeah,
not
exactly.
normal. So you're like, oh
The
man,
tray flip revert type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Willie Sanchez.
Like he wouldn't really do that outside, like
Yeah.
like in a street part. Really,
Exactly.
That's the thing about games of skate, man. You do tricks and you'll land them, but you never really tried them before.
That's the best.
Yeah.
that's how I learned a lot of tricks. Was like someone did it on me. I'm like,
Yeah,
you got to try it,
exactly.
and then you're like, whoa, I could actually do that.
Easy, bro.
It's weird how that works too, because I feel like especially during a game of skate, it's like you just give it a little more effort.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then also
you do.
sometimes it just clicks. You're like, oh shit, so that's how I should be trying
works-
this
it
trick.
works.
yeah.
It's mental, man.
Yeah.
It's mental.
One thing that trips me out, by the way, too, talking about illegal tricks and good looking and bad looking
Sure.
tricks, like why do a lot of regular ferro flips not a lot of people make them look good, but
Uh-huh.
then nollie ferro flip or even switch, like a lot of people make them look really good.
Interesting.
That always tripped me out.
yeah.
Yeah,
Nollie varial
'Cause
flip.
You're really big on nollie ferro flips.
Well, I am, but I got that from Carroll,
Yeah.
Mike Carroll, when he did that over the one in the 7-star rail down in downtown spot.
Oh, yeah.
It was me over the beach block.
Oh, that too. Hey, to be honest, that too.
Yeah.
That was good, dude. I remember. I'm like, damn, that looks sick. I don't know why.
What is it? Yeah.
I don't know
Is
why. I don't
it
know.
spins
It's
a
the way
bit
that
different
the
or
way that it
something?
flips, the way that
Yeah.
it spins.
It just spins a little different.
totally.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember when Carroll did that. I was
Yeah,
like,
Carroll did
damn.
it.
Yeah, he did that
He
so
did
good.
good.
Because no one was. I mean, Chris, you had done it, but like no one had really done it down like stairs really too often.
He did it over the rail.
He did it over the rail.
Yeah,
Yeah. Super sick.
There we go.
That's the one that's off of Hollywood, right?
I believe so. What's that? Something like train,
train
uh,
station.
Yeah,
train
yeah.
station.
Right.
Oh,
Damn.
fakey.
I don't know, man. It must suck because like when that person wins, the crowd comes in, and then you're just sitting there like, oh shit, I'm gonna walk this way. You know what I mean,
Dude.
Seva? Right? What are you doing after you? I mean, you're trying to go and congratulate him too, right? But
Oh,
also
yeah.
have his
It wasn't
moment,
like that.
but-
It wasn't like the last one. Everyone didn't surround the one.
bro.
I think from
are you sure
Look.
that was it?
This was semifinals though.
Oh, okay.
oh,
yeah.
semifinals.
Finals people did-
yes.
I think people started doing it when Cody Spada won Bertelsberg 7. That was the pros. What
Surround
was
them.
it? Joes versus pros concept.
Hmm.
I think that was the first time people started like coming
right.
in.
Kelly,
in.
Kelly, you know what I mean? The whole crowd's watching, and you just are like,
That's like
I'll
a
just
college
turn-
game.
I'm gonna go this way, player. Like, I'm gonna
You're the only dude walking.
the
other
only
way.
dude walking the other way.
Yeah, because I remember P-Rod and PJ playing Bertelsberg 6.
Yeah.
And PJ won that one. And it was like they just gave each
Oh,
other
but it was
handshake and-
very.
the
it
crowd-
wasn't in a big place, though, was it?
No, there
Battleberg
were a
6?
lot of people,
Really?
and it was before they did live, so it's like
Oh, okay.
I feel
They
like a
didn't
lot of-
rush.
No one rushed.
Yeah.
It was just like people took photos afterwards, and it was just crowd-wise. I don't know if it's fair to say, but like it was a bit more respectful to say.
Right.
Well, not that it's not respectful when crowds rush in, because they mean well.
Of course.
Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. Let's look at the crowd rush in.
Oh no, this is also
This is
semis.
semifinals? Oh,
Yeah.
shit. We got to find the other one.
Dude, it's too many games.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of games, dude. Seriously.
Most Battle the Barracks, dude.
How much you win from that? 10 grand or something? What was the purse?
Second place was 10 at the time.
Damn.
Whoa.
And the first was
20?
20 at the time. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Not bad.
It was,
Yeah.
it was
Bad at
definitely.
all.
I mean,
Do they take taxes out or they just give you one lump sum?
I mean, they did, but tax
Option.
up to you.
You're
yeah.
responsible for those, Chris.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
exactly.
man. I'm just saying.
But it was. I mean, also with sponsors back then and everything, it's like
They
getting incentives. So it's on top of that, it was definitely some nice paydays
Red Bull
Yeah.
and stuff, they were
at the time.
match
Yeah,
it?
at the
sick.
time. Well, not match it, but
Give you a
It was
little
like
extra,
a
extra,
incentive
extra.
That's dope.
blind at the time too, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
and then certain opportunities that actually came from that.
What about,
Mhm.
is this one it?
Mhm.
Is this one? No. Championship battle. This
Yeah.
is Cody Cepeda and Luan Oliveira.
Yeah.
Let's just see here. He's about to win.
Cody wins, right? Or no?
Skate. Look, the crowd go. Look, Luan's just standing there. Oh, it wasn't that gnarly though.
It became pretty gnarly after
did,
because
it
I actually
did.
remember.
So hopping
I actually
over.
remember.
It's like a college game, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And everyone swarms fucking
Yeah, it
the
kind of
court.
started chill, but I remember seeing Weiss standing there blocking I think it was like a lady in a wheelchair. He was like blocking her
Oh,
because.
that's wow. Weiss
Yeah.
Weiss is the
He
best.
is.
And
No.
first I didn't even notice. I was like, oh, like he's being pushed, but then it was like, oh, he's
Right.
actually protecting someone. So,
Mhm.
but it,
Yeah.
yeah, when you see it, it's like it started kind of chill. Maybe because it was the first time, so I was like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone got
started.
in.
But it was
Yeah.
also, wasn't it the first time that like what was that, Pro versus Joe's?
Yeah,
it was kind of like the first time that like some Joe came in and won
Yeah, 'cause-
against all these pros.
Yep.
And
So
that-
there was kind of a moment, I think. Huh?
Definitely. Yeah.
That dude's gnarly though, dude. That
Yeah.
dude
Cody
is
Cepeda?
shredded. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude gets
100%.
gnarly for days. Bro.
Yeah, the last Battle of the Barracks was crazy.
There was a lot of games in that one.
Yeah.
What was that?
64 people.
190 games.
Are they still playing it?
Yeah,
They're
it's
still
still
going.
going on, actually. It's still going on. They're round 2, actually.
Yeah.
No, but I hope when they do the next Battle of the Barracks, I hope they just bring it back to the old school. You know what I mean? Let's just have good games of skate. Boom. You know, however many people. What are there? 18 people in it or something like
32
that. Like
usually.
32, whatever it
Yeah.
is. Let's bring it back to the old school. Let's just have some games. Of
I think they
skate.
learned from that last one.
I think they did too.
Yeah.
For sure.
What do we got?
You gonna enter?
Yeah, actually, recently got the invite.
You got
so-
the-
Oh, you
Nice.
they did. They
Yeah.
did.
Did they email you or text you? Because I never
Text
got
me,
it.
Yeah.
What's the
I
concept?
didn't get the invite.
I don't know the
You don't
concept.
know?
this
Okay.
Hit
time.
up Denman right
Invited,
now,
okay.
dude.
They're just like, hey, are you down to be in Battle of the Barracks?
And you're like,
we'll
yeah.
come.
We'll hit up Denman, man. Why didn't you?
Hey,
So wait, how
did
many
you
have you
forget to text
entered
me?
I never got the invite.
Did you forget? I don't, dude. I would not want to.
Did you forget to text me?
Making it to the finals is one thing, but how many have you actually entered?
Let me see. 4, then skip 1, 6, 7, 8. 9 was the New Blood team, so everyone who was in Battle of the Barracks before didn't enter that
Hmm.
year. Then 10. Was there an 11? Yeah.
11 and 12.
So
Dude,
yeah.
you are that dude. You've been in
Been
pretty
in a
much-
lot.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
at least 75% of them.
But it's also, I mean, I guess anybody can beat somebody on any given day. But
Oh, yeah,
but
at
it
the
also
end-
makes you like kind of a veteran and like like a hey, I've been there, done that. Like nothing could phase you, right?
Straight up.
It's a different feel. It's definitely. I think in life I don't get competitive with anything except for S games of skate back then or Battle of the Barracks, and I
Okay.
think the Battle of the Barracks really stems from the S game of skate because it kind of brings a little bit of that fire back from like back then.
Mhm.
Again, I wasn't trying to win the game of skate just for the sake of winning. It was like, hey, there's actually
A
something
purpose.
a purpose exactly.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere subconscious I kind of stayed with Battle of the Barracks, but I can't really pinpoint what it is. It's just like, hey, if I'm playing a
I can
game,
see
I'm gonna
that,
do
though.
my best.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the end of the day, too, I feel like there's been different phases for me throughout Battle of the Barracks where
Mhm.
the biggest focus for me is making sure my shoes and my setup feel good.
Mm.
You know how some days you
Cool.
like step on your board and for some reason you feel like you can do every single trick because your chucks feel right or your
Yeah.
shoes flick super nice.
Mhm.
And some days you might physically feel really good, but something is just
not
not
clicking,
working.
yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's just skateboarding in general.
For
Th-
sure.
That's
That
why,
drives
like
me
you said, like
nuts.
To try to replicate that though, to try to replicate that good day, I tried to replicate it. And it's
You can't ever
do it.
wake up and
Can't
eat
do
the
it.
same cereal.
Oh, yeah.
try to do the same
I
thing.
even tried
did.
Costin's diet one time. Didn't even work either.
but yeah,
What'd
it's
you eat
like you
today?
said.
Yeah. What did you eat today, bro?
Yeah, it's really anyone's game.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
It really doesn't matter.
Well, you
was
you
more-
also have that I don't know what it's called. What is it called? Like that surrounds you, right? It's like, oh, if Seva's coming, he's got all the tricks. He's got the crazy tricks. He's got the late flips. He's got good luck.
I guess kind of maybe
know what I
if
mean?
you compare it to certain other contests. I remember the skate park contest back in the day when Bastian Salabensis showed up. You knew like, good luck,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
he's gonna take it.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that is. I mean,
Nigel.
I mean,
Nija, then
well, I mean, if you're
Yuto.
talking about
Nigel.
Yuto,
Yuto.
Nigel. I mean, we got
Exactly.
dudes that are definitely like
Yeah.
ready
right.
and prepared.
But I think in the games of skate, you have that
Yeah.
also attached to you too.
The
You know?
Terminator.
Yeah.
You're going to terminate, dude. When you walk in,
But it's so
no smiles. We're going.
But it's so
business.
funny though, really quick. But doesn't it make sense now
It totally does.
with his story and why he's here,
Yeah.
even
So-
sitting in this chair
So now
today?
I'm very curious about your guys' perspective because,
Yeah.
to be fair, too, when I started coming to the States,
Mm-hmm.
I spoke English, but I did notice that my English was very different back then. There was a lot more language barrier compared to now.
Mm-hmm.
I do also have to say, when I do see myself back doing certain interviews, I look a lot more timid. I look a lot more straight-faced.
Sure.
Like, I don't feel timid. I feel fine, but
Yeah.
just looking back, I look a lot more straight-faced
Mm-hmm.
because I was just new to this, just meeting people, you know?
Right.
yeah.
And I think also from living here many years, I do have to say people in Southern California just generally smile a lot more. So you end up, smiling a little more too.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious, what was, I don't know, maybe your guys' perspective when you see me come in and be like, because you say the Terminator, you know? So like,
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't. You couldn't really speak English, so this new dude comes in, just looking, couldn't really talk to anybody, and just comes in doing the hardest tricks, but can't talk to anyone with the straight face. And I was like, that's why I thought the Terminator. He's coming here. He just wants to destroy everything.
When then I also think,
I am ready.
well, then also I guess my Russian roots. A lot of people I feel like a lot of people also tied it all together, given that I was born in Russia, so they're like Russia Terminator.
Yeah.
Right. You're Drago, right? From
Exactly.
right.
Oh,
beat
yeah.
Yeah,
From Rocky.
Rocky, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you did have that vibe, right?
Yeah.
Of that Drago, of that just stone face, like I'm here to skate, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because like I always tell this story too, because like when I first met you and started doing barracks stuff and Battle of the Barracks, and you'd always be at barracks and whatever, and just meeting you and like hearing your personality and hearing you laugh and making jokes and just being, I'm just like, this dude is hilarious. Like nobody know. And I think I even told you, I'm like, yo man, you got to do more stuff like in front of the camera. You got to do more stuff and let people know like, man, this is like, you're a funny dude. You have a story to tell. Like, like
Show that personality.
Show the
Yeah.
personality.
I mean, and
personality
truly does make the biggest difference.
It does.
If I'm looking at like the skate videos I used
Mm-hmm.
to look at, or I mean, even if you look at certain sports like soccer or basketball, where like, hey, maybe someone likes a certain player a lot more because their personality. So I
Yeah.
definitely understand that.
Especially if all they see is skating.
Exactly.
And I mean, I'll use this show as a reference because, obviously now people get to see a different side of me off my skateboard, of all of us off our skateboard. So they're seeing the personality side.
So I feel like that one's always tricky because do you feel like whose responsibility, you won't even want to say responsibility, but who's kind of responsible for seeing you in different settings? Because I remember filming a day in the life back in the day in Holland with this filmer, gotta give out to Sander Ferdinand. He used to go by the name Schoft. We did like a day in the life, and him and I, we just clicked really well. But I felt like his style filming and picking out certain moments will highlight your personality a lot more, no matter if you're shy, if you're very talkative. Like
Totally.
it's something you probably can't teach, but he knew how to pick out the right moments.
That's dope.
Yep.
So I'm always kind of curious, like, at some point, because of course it's your personality, but I do believe also sometimes it depends what personality gets picked out and highlighted. Because if one moment we're cracking jokes and it's all fun, and it's being filmed, and another moment I'm trying a hard trick and I'm like throwing my board,
Right.
and you only show the clips where someone's throwing the board, you'd be like, oh,
Well,
that
that's
guy's always aggressive.
That's
So-
editing, though.
Totally.
That's editing,
is,
right?
yeah.
It's like that's what the reality shows. Like those reality shows can make a person look any way that they want them to look.
Yeah.
Are they the villain? Are they the shy person? Are they the outgoing person? Like
Yeah.
it's editing. And that's why I think a lot of the people like Chris Chan with his success and everything, because like he's doing it himself, right?
Yeah.
He's putting himself in front of the camera and editing it and doing his thing and really making that known. But yeah, I mean, you're totally right, man. It's the editor.
Yeah.
It's the editor. And so whose
Big
job
part of
is
it.
that?
But it always, I mean, it starts with you too, because like I
Yeah.
said, when I see myself back doing those early Battle of Barracks days and, doing an interview with Red, I can definitely see that it's almost like a different me
Yeah,
compared
yeah.
to when I do interviews now.
For sure.
Also just meeting the people and just speaking American English a lot
Totally.
more.
Yeah.
That definitely makes a difference.
I think being here a little longer and having that time under your belt
Oh,
kinda
yeah.
made
Yeah.
you a little bit more comfortable in that
Oh,
sense.
100%.
Right,
100%.
right.
And skating for so long, like proving like you could win Battle of the Barracks and put out video parts. You
Yeah.
become more confident in yourself.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And also just, I don't know, maybe also because back then I was like really coming to the US to kind of like pursue skating, and it's like all the focus is on skating, because again, once I finally find a place to crash, it's like, well, I'm still here to skate in the US. I didn't come
Totally.
to the US to just couch surf for 3 months, you
Right,
know?
right.
So I do feel like that probably added something different too, compared to as years progressed and as I picked up some sponsors and got my work visa and started living here, you get to relax a little more. And I feel like
Right.
that definitely influenced you as a person and how your personality might come out. Because now it's like, well, I live here, I can skate, and if skating for whatever reason doesn't feel good today, I can just kick it with the homies, shoot the shit, and crack jokes.
sure.
Exactly.
Which made you a lot
Exactly.
more lax of being here
Exactly.
so long. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like I don't know if I'm saying it right, but almost like a luxury you had to earn, so to speak.
Yeah.
And also just getting those sponsors and feeling like, hey, you don't always have to, so to speak, perform at your highest.
Sure.
And even that, I'm sometimes reflecting now. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I feel like trying to overly perform at your highest in skateboarding can work against you, because you do, there's a certain vibe that gets associated with.
For sure.
Because I've seen it with other skaters too. Great people.
100%.
But it's like,
you're right.
I'm looking, I'm like, oh, I can see why,
Right.
I
I think, but in skateboarding also, like, we're our own worst critic also.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like, that toe drag or that hand on the ground, or I didn't land that clean, you know what I mean? And we always want to get the cleanest tricks and stuff like that. But it's like, I want to see, the non-perfect stuff along with the perfect shit. I want to see that person's grittiness.
Yeah,
I
how
want
they
to see
move.
that person's movements. Exactly.
How they move when they're not expecting something to go a certain way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's-
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think in terms of skating, I do have to say, growing up in Holland, growing up there, and the first year or two that I skated, I'd never seen a skate video, because this
Oh,
before
shit.
YouTube, before anything. And then one of my best friends, his name's Kareem, he found a way to order skate videos from the US. And because the thing back then was too that my shoes at the time would rip in like a month, and I would have to tape them for like 2-3 months before I was able, my parents would
Sure.
Yeah, they get
buy me a
another
pair of shoes. He used to mob his kickflips at the time, so his shoes didn't really rip, and he didn't skate as often. So he was he was a few years old, and he was like, I don't know, doing like newspaper delivery jobs, and he earned some money to. Eventually, he bought those skate videos, and it's almost like we kind of studied them. And he would bring up like, okay, here's a Dutch skate video, here's an American skate video. In the Dutch skate videos, however they land, they just roll with it. In the American videos, it's all bolts. So it became a thing where it's like, hey, if we play a game of skate, it has to be all bolts.
Oh,
And-
that explains a lot about your
explains a
skating.
lot,
Yeah,
yeah.
straight up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You just
I mean-
divulged
He
some
pi-
good information.
Yeah,
Right.
he pissed a lot of people off. Because we would go to another city, skate there, and he would
Yeah.
like, hey, you want to play a game of skate?
Oh my God.
And someone would do like a, I don't know, tray flip, and he's like, he would do his trick, and they're like, I just did a tray flip. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't count. I saw 2 bolts, and like
Oh,
they would just start arguing.
That's a little,
extreme.
that's extreme.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
talk about these rules and
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah,
bro.
but that was definitely a
It-
thing
it-
in my skating. Why
Impactful.
it almost felt like, almost like a thing like, if I come to not if I come to the States, but like to get sponsored to like move up and skate, like you have to land balls
You need
because
to be
that's considered
perfect.
proper.
Right.
And also not to discredit any of the Dutch skate videos, because the people in those videos weren't skating for a living. They can't just go back to a spot the
Right.
next day. It's just to go to school and work and do whatever, and then
right.
whatever days you do get to skate in Holland, because
Huh.
the weather's not that great most of the time either.
True, true.
I didn't
So-
think about that.
Yeah. I mean, I only started thinking about it the last few years.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that the crew, I guess, that I grew up with skating, that became like a standard, like, hey, you want to land clean.
Right.
And other crews in different parts of the country were like, well, if you land, it counts because you landed.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that's right. I want to see clean skateboarding,
Yeah.
but I think there is that medium. There's that
Exactly.
happy medium of like, I want to see clean skating, but I still want to see you as a person. I want to
Exactly.
see the sketchy push.
Yeah, I want to see the style.
Brandon
bro.
Turner pushing up to Carlsbad and hitting doing the switch hard. You know what I mean? Like that's I want to
Yeah.
see shit. I
Yeah.
want to see that person
And nowadays I get that more, but kind of in the mind
growing up.
yeah, it was like, no, if once I did start filming, it's like, no, you can't turn footage in like this, because
Right.
these people are at the highest level, and you have to be. It's almost like
Interesting.
almost feeling the need to overperform, so to
Sure,
speak,
sure.
not knowing. But I'm definitely with you, because also just reflecting and maybe even certain tricks I filmed where it's like, I filmed a trick, and I'm like, oh, I think it could be better.
Right.
And do it a few more times, and it's like, oh, the first one actually just. It wasn't 100% perfect, but that's actually what made it look a lot better.
Yeah. And that's my
Exactly.
skating. That's you know what I'm saying.
But
Right.
for me personally, that only came later.
Okay.
But I do also believe it has just a little bit to do with my setup, because for the longest time, I mean, back in the day, people always skated small boards, but for the longest time, I skated a 775 with slim ventures and low ventures.
Okay.
And once I started skating like an 8.1, I skated slightly wider trucks, and it just gives that just a little bit more room for error. That if you don't land bolts, you can still like cruise out a little more.
Sure.
Versus you know, when you have a super small board with super small trucks, which by default make the trucks a lot tighter, there's no room for error.
Yeah.
Either you land perfect or you just fall off.
Right. Right.
Or you tic tac and it just looks maybe a bit too sketchy.
For
So
sure.
I think
for
there's
sure.
there's a lot of those different elements.
Yeah.
And also for myself, it's just like over the years, just feeling like let's just skate.
But that's what that kind of also comes with age and experience.
Definitely.
You know.
I definitely
It's
used to be a
like-
lot more systematic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's just how my brain functions in general. But
Right.
also just over the years, just for example, talking about Lafayette Skate Park, I would skate a ledge, do 50-50s every, you know, frontside backside switch,
Right.
you know, and then all the 5-0s. And at some point I think you get to a point where you're like, well, if, I don't know, front crooks aren't working today, why am I gonna be bummed about it? Why don't I just do a trick that does feel good?
Right,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
working.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for
So I
sure.
think that kind of, for myself personally, changed a lot over the years too.
Okay. Yeah. Are you working on something right now? Are you filming something?
I've been sitting on a part that's been ready since I think probably September.
Hold on. This is April, man.
Yeah.
When we releasing this?
So I had my previous part, which was the late part.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I call it late part was it had footage from over the years. And this one, kind of, not 100% sure which platform to put it out in. I think
What about your own channel? You have your own channel.
I do, but I feel like I don't think it will do as good as maybe, well, good, just it won't get the same viewership as some other platforms.
Right.
I would beg to differ. I think that if a video is great and it's going to get watched.
Yep.
I think that's true these days, kind of like with the whole Instagram and YouTube
Well-
thing. Like if people like it, the whole algorithm thing, right?
For sure, because like and
like
people
small
and
channels
people spread it.
Yeah.
There are small channels out there that put out a great video and it gets
Yeah.
great views.
True.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I'm also just still deciding if I might want to split this footage up differently, because I do have to say this part is definitely more of a laid back part.
Well, put it out. Let's see
Yeah.
it right now. We'll play it right now for the people. Let's see.
I mean, do we put it out through the 9 Club?
I don't know. If
Nine Club
I don't know if
exclusive.
I don't know if we're ready for that. Maybe in the
Yeah.
future we'll do.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? But
I can definitely show
What do
you
you-
afterwards. I would
Okay.
love to hear your guys' take,
Yeah.
because
What's the laid back Seva part?
I know, right?
What do you like? Hard flip front nose, nollie flip out or something like
no,
that?
no, just a shove out. Just a shove out. Just a
think-
shove.
Shove
Yeah.
out.
Just a shove out.
the only trick that I was like a dream trick of mine in this part is the ender, but the rest was really more like, hey, let's just skate,
Okay.
let's just film, and
Okay.
and the person who filmed it, I feel like has a really good eye for a lot of good looking spots. So
Dope.
I'm like, yeah, maybe that's okay to have a more of a laid back part and just,
Right.
you know, but I still want to see if maybe I should divide it up different, where a minute goes
How
here.
long is it?
Yeah, I was about to say 2-3
Uh,
minutes.
Between 2 and 3 minutes.
Okay, that's
which
it. That's good.
nowadays is
Yeah.
considered a full part, but I mean, there's so many different things that I feel like could be done or go
Right.
into it. Ideally, I would release it, but also with
Think about putting it on your own channel.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, that's the easiest way to do it, right? Otherwise, Thrasher, they may be backed up for another 3 or 4 months on their channel. They've got a
Yeah.
schedule over there. Like, what other? Jankum, actually.
Barracks.
Jankum,
Yeah.
Barracks.
That's 3 solidified, like solid, options right there.
Yeah.
Jankum does rad. You talk to those guys down there, Ian Mishnah.
we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I'll get your guys' take, I guess, after the show.
Okay,
No doubt,
okay.
no doubt.
Well, listen, I want to talk to you because also we had mentioned before you're wearing the shirt Alvira. How do you say it? Alvira. Alfir. So we got this grip. Yo, Kelly's high over there.
He said
man.
Alfeer.
Alfir.
Yeah.
Alvir.
Well, you pronounce the V properly as a Dutch person.
Right.
Proper Dutch V.
Which is interesting because we were talking a little bit before the show. And I want to see the grip tape though,
Yeah.
because it's a grip tape company.
Yeah.
You also got clothes and stuff like that. Will you grab one of your? Because I want to know the process of
Yeah.
making grip tape. You were explaining it a little bit before the show. I said stop. Let's talk about it on the show.
Alright. So I have a sheet right here.
Yeah,
Alfia grip.
Alfir grip.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is just a black sheet. So
Okay,
Um.
perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
So we were talking before the
Then
show.
I also have one that has a center logo. Like
Oh,
the A.
the
is in
A.
center.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Okay, so you were mentioning before the show how you went about because you wanted this grip. You were really going
Oh yeah.
deep into this grit.
New
and
formula, new
how,
formula.
How the formula is.
Yeah.
So explain what the process is for
Um,
this.
I think to get started, it's like even just getting started in grip because it's not the most exciting product, but it's so yeah.
But it's very
It's
crucial.
So
Oh, yeah, it's
crucial.
very essential.
Yeah.
Right.
I know. I mean, do you feel like you ever hear someone get excited about a new grip company? Yeah.
Well,
No,
I mean,
no,
well,
Yeah.
You
Well-
know, I mean, it doesn't seem like much can change.
No.
So, I mean,
No.
what has changed with yours?
So that's where I do like the challenge of grip tape. So during the pandemic, during the lockdowns, a time friend of mine, he reached out and said, "Hey, we should do a grip brand."
Mm-hmm.
And he had reached out to me before about doing other types of brands. I was like, "Oh, I'm not ready to do any brands." But grip tape to me was like the majority of people at the time was always picking between Jesper or Mob mainly.
Grizzly was in there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
when it comes to black grip tape, it was
Yeah.
mainly those
Yeah,
two.
Yeah.
because Grizzly
Right.
did a really great job with the graphics and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. The black grip was mainly Jesper Mob.
Mhm.
And I've skated for Jesper back in the day. I've skated for Mob and felt like, both are good in their own way. But I did feel like there's a lot of for my preference, a bit too many trade-offs.
Interesting.
So when my previous business partner came up with like, hey, we should do a grip brand, I was like, oh, I kind of like the challenge. And we started trying out grips from different manufacturers
Mhm.
and I started keeping up a diary. And
A diary.
a whole diary of like the process. So right now you're like,
Yeah, I'm feeling the stickiness.
exactly. But even with like taking the back paper off,
Mm.
like you don't want the paper to rip and it just sticks to the back.
Mhm,
Bro,
mhm.
Exactly.
that shit pisses me off, man. When
Exactly.
that back paper sticks to
Oh,
that grip
yeah,
tape.
yeah.
I'll be
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
so you wrote
Annoying.
that down in the diary.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
this,
don't.
so this actually,
Don't- I
It
hate
ha-
grip tape that tears in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, it just happened to one of them.
Sure.
And from work at the skate shop, I remember
Mhm.
it happening back then. I mean, like, shit, like, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I basically split that partnership
Okay.
and started over.
Got you.
And that's actually where the name Alveer comes from. My wife actually came up with it.
How
who's-
so? What
who's
is it?
not from here.
Where's she from?
Sorry. Who's not from Holland.
She's not
from
okay.
here.
Okay.
She's from Southern Cali. I mean, I'm really good with like the product aspect of it, the nerd stuff. But when it comes to names and all that, I'm
Well,
I'm
wait a minute. Wait a
horrible.
minute. If she's not from Holland, she's from here. How is she
Yeah.
coming up with the name?
So
Because what does it mean, actually?
So it's a little twist off. So it comes from the Dutch word alweer, which means again, but it's
Okay.
spelled with a W. But going back to my name earlier, Seva,
Yeah.
how you guys pronounce it, how people in Holland pronounce it. When we would text this to people and be like, hey, can you pronounce this? People would say like alweer,
alweer,
which
yeah.
is literally the Dutch word alweer, again.
uh-huh.
And then also the actual alweer also basically, long story short, means to give without expecting. There's like a whole different meaning behind it.
Mm.
So I was like, it had a few different twist offs.
Okay.
And I kind of like the sound of it. A lot of people that I would talk to, they're like, oh, it sounds a bit fancy. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I kind of like that you say that. I
Okay.
don't know why, but it,
Makes sense.
yeah. So, but then with this grip tape, it's not like I just took over the previous brand and just like slapped a different logo on it. Like
Mhm. You basically started again.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
And whole process over again. I was like, well, what I really want to create is a grip that's obviously grippy. So when you stand on your board, you really feel in tune with your board, like you connect to the board. Because you know,
Mhm.
some grip, when it gets slick, you're like,
Yeah.
once you put pressure on, you're like, okay, I feel it. But once you just cruise around, it feels like you start
Kinda
slipping around.
Mhm.
So I was like, no, I really want it to be grippy, but I don't
Mhm.
want you to feel like you're glued to the board either. Like I want you to have like a good foot maneuverability from the
Okay.
get-go without having to sand your grip down or having to break it in, because I feel like you also have to consider people that don't skate every day. Also the people that do skate every day, like if you're, let's say, a pro at a spot and you change a board, you don't want to sand your grip down or like break it in
Right.
because you want it right there. But also people only get to skate like a day a week or 2 days a week.
There you go. So you're
Um,
thinking of everybody.
Mhm.
That was definitely the thought process going
Yeah.
into it. So again, was like, make sure the grip is for sure really grippy,
Mhm.
and I feel like you can definitely feel with the hand
Yeah,
feel.
For sure.
But hand feel is also sometimes a bit deceiving.
Okay.
But also want to make sure that you have good foot maneuverability from the get go, and you can flick freely from the get go. So it like has a good flick release.
Right.
and I also kept a whole diary again about like making sure that that the grip actually outlives your board.
I love
And
the diary.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's even, I mean, notes that might even sound silly where it's like, hey, today my trucks felt a bit off, so I didn't skate as long, so I didn't get to skate as, get to flip do as many flips.
Oh.
'Cause you know, sometimes when your truck like leans a certain way
Oh, it's the
and
worst.
it throws you off,
Oh, yeah.
but you don't get to properly test the product, but you're still wearing it down.
What about
Right.
grip tape thumb? How does it hold
This
up
one
against
seems-
grip tape thumb?
I don't think you do actually with this
Okay,
one.
good,
Yeah.
good. Perfect.
I mean,
If you have
when the
sensitive-
thumbprint thing with the iPhone came
Yeah.
around, it was like, man, I got grip tape thumb.
So,
I can't,
so
I
those
can't
were
even
the,
I can't even get in my phone.
Dude, that always pissed me off getting that. Dude.
Oh my God.
insane,
That-
right?
yeah.
so those are
fingerprint's
the
gone.
biggest thing going into it, and then also making the sheet like 9.25 wide instead of the standard 9. Given
It's so
that,
funny. It doesn't even like. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
yeah, because nowadays a lot of people skate like 8.5 and up.
That's just
Yeah.
wider.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some
I didn't
companies,
I didn't notice it either. Maybe it's
I know Mob has a 9-inch one
Yeah,
and an
probably,
11-inch one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like, I guess making one,
yeah. So and
I don't know.
That's a disservice. You
Keep
need
talking.
to make two.
I'm
Well,
gonna,
no.
I'm gonna go get a piece of grip tape just to look.
You just want to
Yeah,
see.
because but when you see 11-inch one, it looks big.
Yeah.
Like you're like, whoa, it's kind of crazy. Like I've sent people that because it's all we had at one point, and they're like, "Yo, you sent me some huge ass grip tape, dude." I'm like, "No, it's the same thing."
That's
It's
for your 9.
Yeah.
Okay, you're good.
But yeah, that I'm wondering how. What do you tell them to add to? Like what? Do you, like you want them more grippy? Like
well, I
noticed
talked to
that.
Look at this.
oh,
It's wider, dude.
But it's not even by much.
It's not even by much though. But that does. I mean, we all
0.25.
know millimeters.
Oh yeah, no, it makes a difference.
It makes a
Yeah.
huge difference, bro.
So getting into the grip, it's a lot of research went behind it. So actually
Yeah.
understanding the components of the grip, so like the glue that's used. I don't want to give away too much here either,
Okay. Okay.
but all of those things matter because when I was still going through the testing process of
Mhm.
this one, at some point they didn't use thick enough glue so that you get like bald spots on the grip. And I was like, hey, what's going on? And
Okay.
they were like, oh, yeah, we'll make the glue a little thicker. And you know, I kept testing it. It's like, okay, now it actually holds up. So there's a lot of it went into getting coming up with this formula,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just also
That's good.
understanding what questions to ask manufacturers.
Sure.
Right.
Because with boards, I feel like you kind of know which manufacturers make good boards, even if you don't know what exactly to pinpoint.
Mm.
Yeah.
But with grip, it's a very sensitive product.
you know what's crazy? Like I want to talk about Mob. You know when the back order had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
And people would flip out thinking it was different types of grip, but it's not at all. It's just what machine they were processed at or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's how people are so dialed in
Yeah.
on certain things that they don't even know what they're even talking about. They just want that one product they think that works.
I
Yeah.
want the
You
1, 2,
know?
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that, like, oh, only skate the 2s or the 3s.
Like, dude, it don't matter, dude. I don't send out boxes of 2s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all grip tape is just grip
Yeah.
tape. But,
So how-
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No,
go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say because that must have been a lot of research to do.
Oh, 100%.
But a lot of people don't have their stuff publicly out there about what they use.
No, so the grip companies don't.
Yeah.
But it's just up to me to understand, well, how is sandpaper made? What are the components? What components does sandpaper, or what components does grip have that sandpaper has too?
Mm-hmm.
How, like, big parts are silicon carbide or, I don't want to mess it up, aluminum oxide.
Okay.
And, like, I can't pinpoint every single detail, but, like, one of them wears down quicker than the other. And
Right.
just understanding those parts, or, like, the glue that gets used, so it, like, for it to stick to your board,
Mm-hmm.
because some grip starts peeling when it's cold,
Right.
especially if you're talking to places outside of Southern Cali.
There you go.
Yeah.
So just testing those things too. Like, obviously in Southern Cali, you can't properly test skating with cold temperatures. But, like, for example, I had my grip in a freezer for like a day and then took it off and, like,
Really?
put it on the board, see if it, like, starts sliding around or if it still
Okay.
sticks.
Wow.
Things like that.
So you did your homework.
Okay.
Let's
Definitely.
be, but I mean, Like, do you just call places and be like, "Hey, I'm looking for grip tape"? They're like, What's grip tape?" You're like, "Well, it's a sheet of grip, but it goes on a skateboard.
It's like sandpaper.
I need holes in the bottom." But like, how do you go?
Different ways, like different companies
Yeah.
make grip tape type product.
Okay.
Called,
Okay.
anti-slip tape.
Anti-slip tape.
Local or overseas?
Tried so many different places.
Yeah.
Really?
Tried in different countries. Tried domestic as well.
Wow.
And just compared it and
Wait, so are these like not skateboard oriented places? It's like places that are making stuff for like stairs and stuff like
could be
that.
too, yeah.
Because I remember
Most
Jessup.
of the time.
Jessup does that.
I said Jessup is originally that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they have like a side like
I think
Jessup
grip tape.
grip
Yeah.
tape,
Side
right?
hustle.
I think
Yeah.
most places do operate like that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So you reached out to like a manufacturer.
Different manufacturers.
Yeah.
Getting
Listen.
a different product and then.
Listen, Seva, we're on Alibaba right now, dude. We're actually making a grip tape company right now. We're gonna Alibaba. Look at this. We got $1 ready to ship. $1.35. Minimum
Get 'em.
order 20 pieces.
Get them.
I'm gonna slap a 9 Club logo on there.
You really can if you want to.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Look, they got cheese grip tape. Manufacturer skateboard grip tape roll.
Called cheesy.
Waterproof skateboard grip tape. 233.
The one on the far right looks pretty cool for you, Chris.
This one?
Yeah, it looks good for you. You think you'd kill on that thing?
What is that? A race cruiser? What is that?
Look at that.
Clear grip tape. I always trip on that.
That's that one with the cat right there.
This is
That's
Rip and dip.
That's
rip and dip,
dip.
rip and dip rip off.
Oh
basically.
yeah, it didn't even say their name on there.
No.
Oh. Look, here's an Alvear one. No, I'm just kidding. It's,
You're not gonna find it there. I promise you.
but it's just funny. Like there, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
it's
there's-
out there,
I mean,
right?
there's for
crazy.
any product, right?
It's crazy.
Even if you just want to make T-shirts,
Yeah.
like there's
Right.
even more of that. Like
Right.
so.
I mean, it's yeah. Well, congrats
Yeah,
on
bro.
going through all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And where can we get it right now if we wanted to
there's-
order it?
right now it's it's just starting, so there's some shops that carry it, and then also
Okay.
online.
Okay.
And I do have a small squad put together. It's Yvonne Martinez, Terrell Jefferson, Adrienne
okay.
Slobo, Chris
Nice.
Chan,
Oh,
and
hell
then
yeah.
myself included.
Awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, it's it's a start, and I'm just excited to, because I mean, it is a pretty big challenge because, again, grip tape is like not the most exciting product, but it's so essential.
Mhm.
yeah, it is.
Big
But
time.
also, people like what they like,
Right.
Mhm.
and there's
They're stuck in their ways.
exactly just outside of the challenge outside of developing this. Another challenge is that people actually want to
Buying
try
it, yeah.
different
Right.
stuff. You
Totally.
know,
Totally.
Well, the cool thing is, it's not like you're just starting a company. You don't care about the product. You're dialed in with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think it's more enticing for someone to want to try this grip tape because I know how particular you are on things
Yeah.
where it's almost funny because like you'd be like, man, I found the right pairs of pants to skate and like blah, blah, blah. I like this and I like these
Yeah.
shoes are the best. And I'm like, I always respected the shit out of that. So it's
Yeah.
like, I believe that you would make a good product. So I
do
hope.
my best. Yeah,
yeah.
it's. I just think too with skating, it's like as you progress in skating, you start noticing what works and what doesn't. So like
Yeah.
back in the day, you're like grip tape's grip tape, a board is a
Yeah,
board,
for
wheels
sure.
are wheels, and then you start noticing that a certain shape, you're like, oh, I can actually do better manis on this shape. Oh, why
Yeah.
is that? And then I guess maybe I get deeper into it than most people, but
Yeah.
that's where it kind of stems from.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's so true, though. It's so true.
Because I truly believe, talking about manis, like there are a lot of board shapes out there that aren't as favorable for manis.
100%.
And I do feel like a lot more. I know manis is not for a lot of skaters their favorite thing, but
Yeah.
I do think a lot more people will be better at manis with different board shapes.
I
But,
love
but maybe
manis.
that would take away from their current skill set. I don't
Right.
know.
What'd you
Right.
say, Raj?
I love mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. Raj loves mayonnaise.
Same.
Yeah, no, it's so true though, because like I never was a technical guy.
Me
I just
either.
Me
took.
either.
We talk about it all the time, right,
Mhm,
Dubs? It's like
mhm.
we just took a board. It's a good shape. We skated, but then you start talking to people like Professor Schmidt. You know, he
Yeah.
comes on the show, and there's this whole science behind every
Yeah.
little detail of a skateboard.
Yeah. And I do
It's-
think that some aspects should be with certain people. So like, I think it's great that, hey, he produces boards, so he should know those things.
100%.
But as a skater, you don't necessarily have to know every detail.
It could be a
Yeah.
gift or a curse.
Exactly.
Jamie Foy is a super. You talk to him about a skateboard product. He is meticulous in his setup. He's
Yeah.
meticulous in the bushings that he skates and this board and this. He's so meticulous. And then you could have somebody just as talented as Jamie Foy come across that don't give a flying fuck
Yeah.
about their
Sure,
board
sure.
or whatever the hell they're skating. They just get a board and go.
So
Yeah.
true.
So it's crazy, man.
Really
But
is.
you say you were never super technical?
Nope.
Because I feel like
Never.
no,
No.
ever.
I mean, no, I would just be like, I like this shape, and I just stick with that shape, and that's it. I don't.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I'm not trying to like.
but that's
tweak
because
anything.
it worked.
Because it worked.
But have you ever
yeah.
had a shape that worked? You tried a different shape and you go back to the previous one because you're like,
Definitely.
okay, so,
Yeah. Because
so on a smaller scale, basically.
Yeah, but Not, again, dialing in how you know
Yeah.
so detailed and so extra with. But no, I just no.
Yeah,
I don't-
and truth be told, you don't have to, honestly. I
of
feel
course,
like.
but I've been in hindsight. I almost think that I should have been more like detailed and understanding how my board feels.
Or
you
it
know
could have
what I'm saying?
backfired on you too,
could
have. Oh, yeah.
because now you're just great. I just went through a board crisis recently, trying
Oh,
to
yeah?
figure out the curb board, try to figure out the best shape and this truck length and all this stuff, and I was just,
What about it? Was exactly? You say
I was just having harder time, like having consistent slappies, like slappy crook, slappy front crook, and so I was going on this big thing. I stepped my board up from an 825 to an 85. I took my trucks from a 149 to a 161.
Oh wow.
You know, it's like, and I was just experimenting with these boards, and finally that was the board that I landed on, the 161 trucks and the 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still 52 millimeter wheels, softer bushings because I just wanted the turn, but it's just like, I never was like that,
Yeah.
you know,
You got the
and
big dog truck. Okay.
I got the big, bro. It's
Okay.
it's
And
big.
You're liking it though?
Yeah, I do for
That's
slappies
cool.
because it's a lot easier. It's just a lot easier to
You
maneuver.
have more surface.
Yeah.
More
yeah,
surface
yeah.
grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But it's also though, getting your board, putting your board together for the type of skating that you're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's another part of it.
Yeah, but I think too at the same time with skating, your board's gonna feel slightly different every single day, and that's why some days you're like, oh, every trick feels great, and
Why
other
is
days you're
that?
like,
it's horrible.
yeah,
Really?
can depend on your trucks, can
Yeah.
depend on different stuff. But I was just curious in your guys' case too, because I mean, watching
Mhm.
your guys' video parts, like you do a lot of tech skating, so I do feel like tech skating is a bit more sensitive to subtle changes compared to maybe some other skating.
For sure.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's not
Yeah.
completely a fair statement because, like you said, Jamie Foy does really big shit, and I mean, I think he has to be dialed in with his board, seeing what type of stuff he does.
Totally.
Right.
But I just think when you do, for example, a lot of manis, you might be a bit more sensitive to certain.
Now,
changes.
see,
Totally.
and I agree with Jerron too. Is like back in the day, if we had a Professor Schmidt,
Yeah.
not like he wasn't around back then, but if we had him to really hone in and like, you go to Professor Schmidt,
yeah.
he watches you do a manual. He's looking at it. He's looking at the things. He takes out his little gauge and, I mean, like then he's like working with you to build the best board for
Right.
what you want to do.
Right.
It's like that could have changed the game for us too.
And then you actually
right?
see and feel the difference. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, right?
That would be amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
But
Never
it's
did
just
that.
taking the time to do so and like. I
Oh, yeah,
mean,
that takes
I
a
was
lot.
so impatient, man. I just wanted to skate. I don't want to worry about all the fucking. This is little. I get this 1 inch.
you're
in front."
100%
No, dude,
right.
I'm just
Yeah.
going like.
Because
Yeah.
truth be told, man, I've had times where I start nerding out stuff, and it's like,
Yeah.
Filming for a few weeks, and I mean, you guys always filmed and put out video parts. Like it definitely, if you get too much into it, it can definitely put a hold on skating and filming.
For sure.
Get in your
versus
head,
hey,
man.
versus hey, let's just skate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also your technical aspect. I mean, look at the. I mean, you're going crazy with grip tape. You know what I mean? You're the grit and the grip tape thumb and the
And-
stickers on the
yeah.
back and like
And
know
a
what I
big
mean?
part
Like,
is just also listening to other people.
right.
I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. Just trying to understand what people like and why they like it or what they don't like
Right.
and why, and then adding in what I like and what I don't like about a certain product, or
Yeah.
what I think could be better, and if it could even be improved.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there's just so many different components, so many aspects to it.
I love
sure.
it, man. I love that you're. It's funny because, like you said, man, grip tape is just. It's so simple, yet it's so crucial.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah,
I always
it's
find it funny that companies do not expose what they're like, how they make the grip tape, like
Yeah.
what their
It's like a
formula,
trade secret.
what the formula is. Like you don't know what Mob is, you don't know what Jessup is.
But why would they even
do.
do that, though? Right? Like, I think would they put out an ad of that? Like, we use 45% carbonite.
No, but like but that's what they kind of corner the market almost. You're like, cool, like no one knows our shit. They know they love
Right.
the product, but
Yeah.
you can't get it anywhere else.
Right.
So they're like, I'm not telling anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
And then
sense.
of course with every brand too, a big part why people buy into it is of course branding, marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
that.
That's a part of it.
Oh, you mentioned before the team. I don't know if you got to finish. Who's on
Oh,
who's
yeah.
on the
He did.
squad?
Yeah, so it's Yvonne Martinez,
Okay.
Terrell Jefferson, Adrian Slobo,
Mhm.
Chris Chan, and I.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's
Sick.
a small squad.
Okay. Dope.
Feel like some days you're gonna have. I mean, you guys already had Chris Chan on, but
Yeah.
just
Well, we could have him on again.
yeah,
Yeah.
really great skaters, really great
Yeah.
individuals. Like one thing I really appreciate about them is how self-sufficient they are, and
Mhm.
and I feel like there's definitely like a bit of an age gap with some of the rides, but I feel like I can actually learn a lot from them, and it's just
Totally.
fun skating together.
How old are you, so?
32.
Nice.
Still in the game.
Still
man.
young,
Still
bro.
doing
That's
it.
good.
Still
That's young to
young.
me.
I do have to
Yeah.
say, I do feel better now than I did like 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Wow.
And
How so? What do you mean?
I think some of the stuff we talked about, like just mindset of like
Yeah.
back then, maybe I was a bit more systematic about skating.
Mhm,
But I think
mhm.
also there's different aspects to that part. I feel like back then when I was couch surfing and stuff and kind of on a lower budget, and I feel like back then too, skaters cared a little less about diet than compared to
Sure.
Oh,
no.
yeah.
the last
Yeah.
few years, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
big
So
time.
that definitely plays a big role, because when I was out here for 3 months couch surfing and
Oh,
filming,
you're talking about physically and mentally,
yeah,
and,
exactly.
and your nutrition,
and I would
stuff.
come back
Okay.
home and I would be pretty skinny.
Mhm.
at the
Got
time,
you.
Like, lost a lot
Okay.
of weight,
Right.
because some of those trips, it's like we're out filming skating all day, and the filmer at the time that I filmed with didn't have as much budget either. So it's like whatever money I have, buy McDonald's meal, split the burger, split the fries.
Mm.
You know,
That's
It's also
good.
no nutritional value in that
exactly.
kind of shit.
Yeah.
Except when I stayed at Christian.
Chris Chan's one, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You got the good food.
Yeah.
Straight up.
But
Shout out to Chris Chan.
so I think
Yeah.
stuff like that, it's like kind of the luxury now to be able to
Mhm.
just do not have to worry about that aspect. But also, I think a big part for me is the mental aspect. You get to know your body better over the years.
True.
So back then it was like, I'm here for 3 months, got to skate as much as possible, film. And now it's
Mhm.
like, well, I live here, so maybe I can take a day or two off.
Totally.
And
man.
you
As you
still
should, and let
and
your
you-
body heal, let
exactly,
your
you-
mind heal.
Exactly, you
Mhm.
completely feel recharged, and now you can go for it again the next
Mhm.
5 days.
Yeah,
So I think it's a combination of those things.
I love it.
Fuck yeah, bro.
All we got's our body, man.
Yeah.
Got to cherish it like a temple.
Yeah.
Straight up.
You know, Dubs.
Straight up.
Talking about body.
You take athletic
Bathroom
greens.
break.
Yo, Athletic Greens.
I've never.
It's the best.
Very
Yeah,
good
you-
supplement, bro. I back it 1,000%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that to you. I back this shit. Really
A
good,
lot of
bro.
people back it
Yeah,
too.
a lot of people
Yeah.
do.
No, that's
No
good.
Athleticgreens.com/9club. You get
Yeah.
little sample packs and stuff like
Made
that.
in New
Sign up for it.
Zealand.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Also, the
75
element,
yeah.
the element stuff as well.
That I
Yeah,
use that the
Elements
most
stuff's good.
personally, but yeah.
Congrats on the grip.
Thank you.
I think it's
Mhm.
amazing, man. I think it's rad to, just create something as a skater. You know, we're always, just skating for the company. Really don't get to do much behind the scenes, stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's nice to be able to take something and create
Yeah.
and be in charge of it. You know what I mean? I think it's
Definitely.
amazing.
And the market space is open for this. Like, it's not another board company.
Right.
A lot of people make boards. Grip tape is very, there's, like you said, there's only 2 brands or
Yeah.
3 brands.
Over over the years, there have been some more brands
Yeah.
now, but it's there's definitely
There's room.
A few
Yeah,
are popping
'cause
up recently,
yeah,
actually.
'cause
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
also while I was getting to this formula, I was
Mhm.
also skating all the other grip just to try out everything.
Right.
Whenever I see something new on the market, I'm like, I'm ordering it. I'm
Okay.
gonna try it out.
Right.
I love
Yeah.
that. You're also supporting it.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time too, yeah.
Sure.
And I think too, and especially in skating, it's like, of course, I did my best to come up with a grip that I believe is gonna enhance everyone's skating experience,
Mhm.
and that was like the main goal.
Right.
But at the end of the day, too, people have their personal preferences, and sometimes people might even want to just support a certain brand because they like the brand, and I think that's what makes skateboarding so
100%.
cool.
Right.
sure.
100%.
No doubt.
Across all the different board brands and everything,
Right.
and so I feel like at the end of the day, too, it's like, even though you're technically competitors, I think in skateboarding at the same time, it's like, well, we can all eat,
Right.
Yeah. 100%,
Totally.
dude. Go support your favorite skater, man. Go buy their board or their grip tape. You know what I'm saying? Alveer, you can go
Yeah.
go to Alveerco.
Alveerco.com.
Yeah, alveerco.com. ALVEERCO.com. We'll send you an invoice for this commercial after the show. man. Just kidding. No, congrats on this though. It's
Thank you.
amazing, bro. And it's rad. You got some cool stuff. I like the logo.
Oh, thank you.
I think the A with little star in there is
Yeah.
is cool. I think
Yeah.
it's dope. Very clean. I like clean. I like clean, simple, classic. I love that shit.
And that's what I liked a lot about doing this brand completely solo, is that I can really make the decision of the aesthetic that I like
Yes.
and why I like it, and just go from there basically.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I do ask people for advice here and there, like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think is better? Because,
Well,
I mean, I do appreciate people's, opinion.
Of
but
course.
I mean, at the end of the day,
do-
you have to listen too.
exactly.
That's the
Exactly.
market
You have to
research
listen.
aspect of it. Yeah, you have to see what's working for other people and why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's product or whether, hey, do you find this logo this way more appealing than this way? Like, all
Right.
those things matter. Like,
Right.
once you present it, no one's going to be like, oh, I wish you would have changed it. No, they take it how you present it. But when you're in the process of it all, and that's kind of like the hard part about it too, is coming up with something new that, because when something's presented to you, you kind of like, you either like it or you don't, and you have your opinion why you do or don't like it. But when it's something new, kind of made from scratch, I feel
Right.
like there's a challenge on its own. But
For sure.
But I think
I'm
there.
happy you like the logo though. Appreciate
No,
it.
I do,
Yeah.
and I think there is room. I think a lot of people do want to try new stuff. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
definitely.
Like Mike Sinclair came out with his slappy trucks, and like
Yeah.
I'm talking to him, and he's getting crazy orders and good distribute. You know, like people are
Yeah.
liking them. You know, they want to try new stuff. I think people definitely curious out there because
Yeah.
nothing in skateboarding really changes. Let's
Yeah.
be honest, right? It's the same shit over and over again, right? So when something new comes out, and you coming on the show and helping to explain the trials and tribulations of making grip tape and the grittiness and how you want to be connected to your board, but still have that foot movability, but not have it too slippy, too slidey.
Yeah.
Like, you went through a process.
Yeah, it was.
You
I
kept a
mean,
diary, for Christ's sake. You
Oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean? It's crazy.
I didn't use a microscope, but definitely like,
Okay.
and a big part also about testing grip. The really important aspect was actually what shoes I was wearing. That's another whole different detail, because like,
Interesting, yeah.
for example, over the years I've been buying different shoes.
Okay.
I really like the Nike Bruin, for example,
Mm-hmm.
but the structure of the bottom sole would not be as good to test grip compared to, I used the Adidas
Yeah.
Business Folk a lot to test grip.
Mm.
There's a certain structure about the Adidas shoe that makes me feel just a little more in tune
Interesting.
with my board, just regardless of the grip. Just
Huh.
has a certain type of board feel to a point where I'm like, this is the right shoe to test grip.
Really?
Because if you're just gonna test grip with different type of shoes, you're not gonna have a proper testing process.
You need a constant.
Exactly.
That's what they call it, Dubs.
Mm,
You need a
constant.
constant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it matters if you test in capsules or in folk, and then the vulcanized really depends.
Well, you
Vulcanized is
put
the grippiest, I would
Yeah,
say, right?
big
And it really depends per brand too, because
Yeah.
vulcanized from Adidas, Nike is different from
Vulcanized
other brands.
Vans or
Exactly.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
so that also plays a role.
Don't forget about Skechers.
That too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Got to
Dude, I drove
Testing the
by
Skechers.
the warehouse that's out like off the
Gnarly.
Tim. That shit is huge.
There's some
That-
companies out there that are just a mystery to me. Like how Skechers? How do you get? How do they do
They
that?
did it.
How they
they're,
get
they're
there?
the new Payless. No,
How'd they get there? It's crazy.
They did it.
That company is big.
It's wild.
huge.
Yeah.
No, we'll never. It's like the eighth wonder of the world.
They're
How
the one
could
company
they do
that hasn't tried to come into skating really these
Ah,
days.
they got Greg. They did Greg Lutzka. Remember?
No.
Oh, that was
K-Swiss.
that was
K-Swiss.
K-Swiss. My
Yeah.
bad.
The
Who?
They had Brian Young way back in the day.
They had Brian.
Okay,
Young
but
way
they didn't
back
have
in
like
the
a full,
day.
a full skate program.
Nobody recently.
You know? Oh, like, well, no, they don't now is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shit. Skechers.
The only person that we know in the skating industry that works over there is Lance Dawes.
I trip
Hey.
out. I mean, he must have a good job.
Yes,
he must
of
be getting
course he
taken
does.
care of. So good for him.
1000%.
Yeah.
Hey, if their warehouse is that big, Skechers, hit me up. Dude. We could talk. All right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Seva, but you know what? You can come back anytime. We'd love to have you back because this has been incredible, man. And I think you still have a lot of story to tell. You know what I'm saying?
As I was talking about the shoes, I was like, I can get a whole into that, but I'm like, yeah, maybe that is. For
That's a
another
whole
day,
other
right?
episode.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can talk. That's what I'm saying, though. I think there's a whole other, I think you can come back and we could have a great
He needs
conversation
to do a
again.
board setup and really break down
Oh,
his
that'd
board.
be cool. That'd be cool. You got to
Yeah.
come back and do a board setup.
I'm
You
down.
down?
100%.
Or talk about your video parts, bro. Either one.
That's true too, man. You
Yeah,
got to
dude.
go. There's some good video part. Do you have a favorite video part that you ever did? Were you proud of something the most?
I don't know about favorite because it's like when it's your own part, there's a certain feeling attached to it.
But sometimes, like, I'm not proud. Like, I'm not proud of a lot of parts that I had.
Oh,
You know what I
really?
mean? Yeah.
Why?
Well, like Trans World, I was hurt I had an Achilles tendon problem, and it wasn't my best. I call it like my mellow part. A lot of shove-its in there, a lot of things. But
Okay.
I was only doing what I could do on a bum ankle. Hot Chocolate Tour would probably be the video part that I'm most proud of, even though I wasn't. I always feel like I could do better, and I never got the chance to do better. You know what I mean?
I feel like, don't you feel like everyone feels like that then? Do you feel
Maybe.
like that?
For
Well,
sure, definitely.
Maybe I was at.
You as well?
You know what's funny? My favorite video part that I've had randomly was the recruit part. That's
Oh,
at the
barracks,
barracks,
yeah.
That- which is weird. It's escape, like it's in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
But the whole process and the whole thing just was different. I don't know.
My
So, yeah.
favorite
That's
part.
dope.
My favorite part I ever had was a Trickopedia nose grind.
I think that was
the
the first
Trickopedia.
one ever done.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I had right behind you. Mine was the second, and
Yeah.
yours was first.
I did-
Look at
I
us,
did
we're
it
ahead of
too.
the
I did a
game,
tail
bro.
slide.
Tail slide?
And tails.
But you weren't the first.
I was not the first.
No.
and
I
I
was
was
the
not the
first-
last.
I was the first Trickopedia ever. Ever. That's the first barracks, first Trickopedia ever done. Anyway.
And my street
and
part for
it's-
me is like probably the LRG video, but
Was
The-
it Give Me My Money? too?
yeah. What was yours though? You don't know?
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like there's definitely much more I want to do.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I definitely feel
Right.
like there's just different phases. For example, the week in Paris, I never saw it as an official part, but it kind of is, even though it was like a 5-day trip.
Right,
And I feel
right.
like Colin Clark did a really great job editing and the way it came out, just filming
Sure.
and editing.
And what it did for your career at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of like the part that made me start thinking about, hey,
Possibilities.
maybe I can
Yeah.
you know, pursue skating. Of course, after talking to the homie Thomas
Yeah.
Winter.
Right.
So that's just the feeling that's attached to that part.
Yeah.
But then also, blind. This is not a test. That was my second time coming to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Just that whole process of being everywhere and nowhere, but still filming. Because
Mm-hmm.
one of my good friends, his name's Eric Sandoval. A lot of people knew him by Dirty.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys ever, maybe you
Sound
see him
familiar,
around. Yeah.
probably.
When we're filming for This Not a Test, he didn't drive at the time. I didn't drive. Like, I only started learning how to drive in the U.S. actually like 8 years ago.
Okay.
So back then too, I used to bus it everywhere, use public transit. So did he. He didn't have a driver's license. Every now and then we could catch a ride with other friends, but we used to take the bus all across LA, just going to spots. Somehow he knew how to get everywhere.
Wow.
And just thinking back about that whole process. And like I said too, back then I was like, okay, I'm pretty limited on budget. He was super limited too. He was getting a lot of deadlines from different projects he was working on. But it was actually at a point where like I'm pulling up to this place at like 8:30 a.m. and I would wake him up and he's just like, oh yeah, and like he has like a chicken wing left from the night before, and that's his quick breakfast, and we would be just out skating all day.
Wow.
But just that type of hustle and that
Yeah.
adventure makes that also one of my favorite parts film because it's like just the whole process of it all and getting to meet Luis
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
and also it being my first official American part
Mhm.
when I got introduced to an American board brand. So I feel like every part really has
Well, it's funny
like
because
a special
different
place to
feeling,
me
for sure.
where I can really point out one favorite part.
Right.
well, you're taking into consideration the process that went into
Exactly.
those parts.
Well-
Hot Chocolate Tour for sure. That was the best. I mean, a month-long trip with all the homies and the Spike and everybody. I mean, I'm not taking that into consideration with that part. It's like what part? I'm just talking about the skating,
The
and
actual-
and the ability that I had at the time, and the part that I put
Yeah.
together, and then you know, what I mean,
So, yeah, I find that one hard too because a lot of tricks I did in This Not a Test
Mhm.
were tricks that I had already filmed prior in Holland, but because I was here and never had an American video part,
sure,
it's like okay, I can kind of do these tricks again.
Right,
But then
right.
the part after, which was the Blind Dam video, I had to step it up.
Right.
So I think also that's why
Mm-hmm.
during my 3 months in the US I was able to film This Not a Test because we would just go to spots, take the bus or drive with someone,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just do whatever feels good that day.
Right.
But then the next part, you have to kind of think everything through a lot more.
Totally.
We already watched this one.
I know, but he's just talking about it again, so I
Yeah.
thought we'd click through it and see,
And that's why
see
I
what
do
he's
have to say,
talking
like,
about, man.
I do have to say when it comes to also, I mean, this apart from favorite part or not, jumping stairs always is way easier for me when I go back to Europe.
Why?
I feel like every big gap or stair out here has just been killed to a point where like, hey, if I pull up to a stair and I'm feeling switch flip, it's like
It's been done.
it's been done.
Yeah.
Nowadays
Right.
with social media, it's like okay,
1000%.
anything goes on social media, but strictly to film for video part, it's like whenever I go to Europe, also I don't really skate the biggest stair, so if I go to 10 stair in Europe and a switch flip feels good and people are like, oh yeah, switch flip hasn't been done, well I can actually try it and
Sure,
Right.
sure. And a spot that, yeah. I feel you. Yeah.
but yeah, all of this, it's
That's a
like
good part. That's a
some-
good mani pad.
some tricks that I've done, it's like, oh, I've filmed it at some point in my in the garage in at like the parking lots in my hometown,
Right.
but no one has ever seen that.
Right.
But it's a trick that I do have that I can,
Sure.
maybe
sure.
do relatively quick versus if I'm actually trying to step that one up.
Right.
Good stuff, man. Seva.
Yeah.
Seva Krutkov.
Krutkov, you say it perfectly.
I say it perfectly,
And I like
right?
how you roll the R too.
I got to roll the Krutkov.
Yep.
You know, got to do it, man. Listen, Seva, before you go, we want to give you some 9 Club stuff, if you don't mind. Take home with you.
Don't at all.
Kelly, will you do the honors?
I got you, dude.
Yeah.
Thank
I also
you.
got some additional stuff for you guys too.
Ooh, you do? Okay.
Of course.
Well, hurry up before Kelly gets
Yeah.
back, man. I want to take dibs on this shit. What do we got? I hope it's some grip tape because I would love to try.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've already, yeah. Oh, we got a whole box of it?
Yeah, I'm
Mr. Krutkov.
Take-
Thank you, bro.
Here's the
Nice.
sheets.
Wow. Okay. Are you
Nice.
really? Oh, he's just giving us the sheets.
Sheets.
Or the whole.
the box is the presentation.
Okay.
This is what
Thank
it is.
you,
You
bro.
get one
Thank
sheet
you.
each.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
So,
Alvear
yeah,
grip
and
tape.
then,
Looking forward to it, man. I'm going to skate this for sure.
Some t-shirts.
You got some shirts?
I heard everyone size L.
Pretty much,
Yep.
yeah. Size L. Oh, thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank
So
you.
it's-
Yeah, we're all L's. I mean,
Five.
yeah, in our shirt size. Not a-
Other than that, we're W's all day.
Thank you. Dubs. Hey, you got to be careful what you say these days, man. This shit gets taken out of context, and all of a sudden you're a fucking loser.
Oh, yeah. So it's 5 of you guys, right?
Yeah.
You 3, 2, and yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't know how you maybe want to divide it.
Dude, thank
look
you
at
so
these.
much.
Black tees. I have-
Ooh,
this one's
okay.
like
Black.
almost like a forest green
I'll
or
just
jade.
grab the black.
Perfect.
This one's like a very dark
Beautiful,
navy and a
beautiful.
white
Okay.
tee.
Wow.
And even with tees, I don't want to go into details too much, but I want to make sure that people actually
There's
feel
quality.
like, okay, this feels
I'm
good.
gonna tell you
I can already
something.
tell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something, Seva. Like, it seems easy. Oh, I'll just make a T-shirt. Like, there's a lot more that goes into making a
It is,
T-shirt.
and even-
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I
man.
think that's for another time, but even the whole t-shirt thing, I actually
Better.
You
researched the different
yeah.
types of cotton and all that type
Mhm.
of stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, it looks good.
Big
Yeah, it looks
time.
nice.
Some shit.
Nice.
That's my shirt right
Yeah.
there.
I like that
Yeah.
color.
The color-
Yeah,
Color's nice.
Color's
Yeah.
good. I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah, thank you, Seva.
Yeah, you
Thank
guys
you,
got
bro.
it.
And some stickers. Let's
Got
go.
some stickers
right
too.
here.
Okay.
Right.
Listen, we got stickers too. We offer a photo incentive. Oh, we'll talk about that. Yeah, a photo incentive.
Oh yeah, break it down, Chris.
First of all, Seva, bro,
Hey, I
dude,
was really happy to sit with you guys. I feel like
Yes,
it's nice
dude.
getting to know one another
Dude,
a little
for
more.
sure,
'Cause I feel like
bro.
we've always seen each other over the years here
But
and
never
there.
really got to chop it up.
Yeah.
Exactly. you know.
Right.
I mean, for me growing up, I've always watched the video parts, so to actually sit here and get to know one another.
Yeah.
man.
Thanks for
Same,
having
I feel
me.
the same, bro. Same thing.
that's why I love this show, man. Get to know people.
Yes, sir.
And so thank you. First of all, thank you for this Alvear grip. We're looking forward to trying it out. Thank you for the shirts. Appreciate that. Oh, here's a Yeti 9 Club mug.
awesome.
Yeah.
'Cause I was actually just looking for a new mug.
Oh, there you go.
thank you,
That
guys.
fits perfectly into the cup holder of your car. And this shit will stay.
Did you
Like my shit's still hot. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
yeah?
made this at like 3:30
Still
p.m.
hot.
and it's fucking what 9:47 right now. It's still hot.
Tea, coffee, water.
Oh,
What do you-
anything. Oh,
What-
this is
what do you-
tea.
Okay, tea.
This is tea. Yeah, green tea.
Yeah.
Liquid Death.
You can put liquid death in there too if you
can
want some
definitely put
water.
some liquid death.
There's a 1,000 shirt. Dubs
I like
coined the term 1,000. He was sitting in on a show one time and he just kept saying 1,000, 1,000 over and over.
That might have been the only word you said the whole time.
I think it was. I think I was nervous. I just kept saying 1,000.
He just, man. Dubs, how you doing over there? 1,000. 1,000.
But this you?
That's him.
yeah,
1,000.
awesome,
man.
That's it. That's it.
Thank
It's
you,
not a
guys.
brand or anything. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we just
No, I love it.
we just did a 1,000.
Yeah.
I love
Because
it.
he was like,
Thank you.
yeah, would you go to the bathroom today? 1,000.
1,000. I went quite a few times today.
1,000 times.
1,000 times.
Yeah, it might have been 1,000.
Did a collab with Stance. This is our second collab with them. We
Oh,
did
nice.
first we had black socks. Now we got white socks with the orange. So dude,
Awesome. Thank
get
you.
the socks right there. And Hoodie. Look at this hoodie.
Love it.
I take pride in our hoodies, man. We like our hoodies, bro. These are good.
They are good hoodies.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good hoodie, man. We got embroidery on the front there.
I love the color too.
Yeah, the blue.
like a navy,
huh?
yeah. 'Cause
navy.
that's what for some reason when I
Got the
when
blue.
I was like,
Blue's a great color.
for some reason with Elvira, I don't know why, but something was like, the color should be navy.
Perfect.
Like even on the white tee, like let's just instead of doing black letters, let's do navy. I know why, but it just felt right.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it, man.
Every
Navy's a
round.
good color. I like
is,
the
yeah.
blue. Blue's a great color.
Yeah.
And then here's a couple stickers. So we're still, we get on the cover of Thrasher or any mag for that matter. European mag, anything, $20. $20.
20
$20 a
Photo
piece?
incentive. No,
Oh,
no,
photo
just for
incentive.
photo
Okay.
incentive.
It has to be
I like
visibly
that.
seen. It has to be like really big.
Yeah,
Yeah. You have to. It has to be very, very like it's
it's
there.
pretty much like you don't even see the trick.
Yeah.
It's only the sticker that's visible on the cover.
Yeah.
$20.
I feel like I kind of forgot about the whole photo incentive stuff and everything. Like, because at this point I don't have sponsors.
Well, we have some.
We got some for you.
We got some.
So
There
I
we
It's
appreciate
not
the
dead.
photo
It's not
incentive.
over, bro.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's
20
not
bucks,
over.
photo
Yeah.
incentive, and a mug for you to take home
Appreciate
with you right
that.
there, dude.
We'll get a
Definitely.
product agreement getting going with you pretty soon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we gotta-
Product agreement.
every person that leaves here signs a contract for the photo incentive sticker.
Yeah. Too good.
And also, listen, the people at Manscaped are nice enough to donate a lot of product to us,
Yeah.
and they are one of our sponsors. They help us out a lot on the show.
Oh.
And you go to manscaped.com/9club, you get 20% off plus free shipping. But dude, the beard head, you got a good beard? Yeah, it looks like you do a
just
little
shaved.
trimmy trim, right?
Once a week. Yeah.
Bro, we got the beard hedger right there, bro.
Damn.
It's got one piece shave, take the wheel, power move, born ready. You know what I'm saying? A better beard starts with this simple 3-step routine. Wash, well, you know how to shave. Here, I'll just give it to you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe
There
you
you
can teach him if he does.
There's actually some items that I was looking into recently, so thank you guys very
Dude,
much.
There you go.
Merry
I feel like
Christmas.
it's the best of the best.
Merry Christmas, man. Happy holidays.
Happy
No, but
holidays to
Seva,
you
we
too.
really appreciate you,
Yes,
and
man.
thank you so much for coming on the show. And I definitely, I love to hear about the journey and everything, and I think it's amazing because, again, I want to reiterate, sometimes some things you just take for granted, like the games of skate and everything, and people, and you don't really think about somebody's journey, like your journey coming here. And I think it's remarkable. I think it's remarkable that you look at like Felipe Gustavo's story, and his dad sold the family car to get him out to Tampa, and he wins Tampa. Like, you can't write that kind of shit. That's some storybook shit, but it's kind of the same with you. You're gunning for this thing, and it happens, and you take the chance, and you come out. I love it. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
But one thing we didn't talk about, man. How did you get on Blind? I'm just kidding. Thank you, Seth. You are the man. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Brad.